Stars, you can start. You can start now, sir. Stars Ali. Okay, why we wait for Stars Ali to just put up or solve the technical issues? I mean, okay, I guess that's
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم Okay.
technical department, sir. Please kindly help see to what we can do to help Ustaz Ali. We can't hear anything again from him. I think he started, but the network actually affected also. So I was telling us while we're waiting to solve the technical issue we're having at the moment, or the network issue as the case may be, I was trying to lead us into the topic of discussion for today, the main topic for discussion. I know the Amir is going to do give us a brief of it during his time to welcome us to. Ustaz, are you back? Ustaz Ali. Okay. I think we'll probably still have the memory. There will probably still be time for us to have the memory lane. In the absence of to solve that issue, the network issue, we'll probably go to the next agenda of today's for today's program, and that will be the Muayasha segment, and that's will be anchored by Ustaz in the house, one of my very respected Ustaz in the house, Ustaz Sulaiman Ahmad. Ustaz Sulaiman Ahmad will be taking us through the Muayasha, which will last for 20 minutes or thereabouts, and we hope that you will follow. And like I said earlier, questions will be drafted out of every of our activities, every of our program scheduled for today. So you need to get your writing materials, and because you will not know where the questions will come from. So get your writing material, get your pad, get your pen, and jot as much as you can, because the questions from the organizers will come from anywhere. So I'll hand over the microphone to Ustaz Sulaiman Ahmad now to take us through the Mwayasha for the next 20 minutes. Bismillah, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وبه نستعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على الحبيب المحبوب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. لما صل وسلم وبارك عليه، لما اسقنا بيده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. اللهم أحينا على سنته وأمتنا على ملته واحشرنا في زمرته. We thank Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank him, we adore him, we eulogize him for countless of his favor that he has bestowed on each and every one of us, particularly that he has preserved us to be among those witnessing this year's edition of this glorious gathering. We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept as an act of worship from each and every one of us, and grant us the blissful abode with it. We seek his benevolence on the best of mankind, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent as the last of his mercy to mankind. Today, inshallah, we shall be looking at one of his sayings that are greater than most of the things we call words on marbles. Whatever he says is evergreen, and whatever he says will definitely come to pass. This hadith goes thus. Scholar says, فَقَدْ رَوِيَ الْإِمَامِ أَحْمَدُ النُّعْمَانِ بن بشير رضي الله عنه قال: كنا جلوسا في المسجد، فجاء أبو ثعلبة الخشني فقال: يا بشير بن سعد، أتحفظ حديث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في الأمراء؟ فقال حذيفة: أنا أحفظ خطبته. فجلس أبو ثعلبة فقال حذيفة: قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: تكون النبوة فيكم ما شاء الله أن تكون، ثم يرفعها الله إذا شاء أن يرفعها، ثم تكون خلافة على منهاج النبوة، فتكون ما شاء الله أن تكون، ثم يرفعها الله إذا شاء أن يرفعها، ثم تكون ملكا عاضا، فيكون ما شاء الله أن يكون، ثم يرفعها إذا شاء الله أن يرفعها، ثم تكون ملكا جبريا، فتكون ما شاء الله أن تكون، ثم يرفعها الله إذا شاء أن يرفعها، ثم تكون خلافة على منهاج النبوة، ثم سكت. This is the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam we are relying on for this morning's mu'ayasha. We want to live together with this hadith, particularly at a time like this when hope is almost lost and man is at the brink of the precipice with respect to so many things that are happening to mankind today. Health-wise, we all know what we are battling with. Economic-wise, we all know what we are battling with. Social-wise, we all know what we are battling with. In fact, political-wise, we know what we are battling with, not to talk of security-wise. All these things have been able to lead man to what is almost hopeless situation. However, The Prophet of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in this hadith, has prophesied that, of course, there will be so many things that will happen, but وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, the end, the victory at the end of the whole journey shall be to the upright ones. And that we should not at any point in time think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created man to come and suffer in this world. No, Allah created us to come and have what we call al-firdaus al-ardi, to come and have the earthly firdaus before the al-firdaus al-ukhrawi, the firdaus of the everlasting one, which is in hereafter. But before we can have both together, we must obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this hadith, Islam was, it happened that the hadith could be found in the book of Imam Ahmad, and was written by An-Nu'man bin Bashir radiyallahu anhu, that he said, Kunna jalusan fil masjid, ajoko sinu mọ́ṣáláṣí ni, faja'a Abu Sa'labatu al-Khushani, ó ní ẹnìkan bá dé tí a mọ̀ sí Abu Sa'laba al-Khushani, faqala, ó bá sọ wípé, ya Bashir, ìrẹ Bashir bin Sa'd, atahfaz hadith Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam fil umara, ṣé ó tiẹ̀ ní nǹkan kan lọ́pọlọ tó ṣọ́sọ́pọlọ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ ó ń ṣe Ọlọ́run ọba sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Torí wọ́n mọ̀ wípé gbogbo nǹkan pátápátá l'Ànábì ti ṣàlàyé. Bàtán rí tí ìlú bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dàrú, ṣé bó ṣe kàn mọ́ darí ìwà lélẹ́yìí? Ṣé bó ṣe kí ilé ayé ṣe rí lélẹ́yìí? Bó ṣe káwọn aṣíwájú wa ṣe rí lélẹ́yìí káàkiri orílẹ̀ ayé tí ò yọbì kankan lẹ̀? Irú àkókò yìí náà, òun náà ni wọ́n wá ń béèrè. Faqala Hudhayfa bin al-Yaman radiyallahu anhu, ó ní ana ahfadh khutbatahu, ó ní mo há kútúbà nábì sọpọlọ ni, mo há kútúbà rẹ̀ sọpọlọ. Tó fi jẹ́ wípé nǹkan tí ó fà á tí ó fi rọrùn fún àwọn sàhábí Ànábì Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam láti ha kútúbà nábì sọpọlọ, òun ni wípé àti ọpọlọ àti ẹ̀mí gbogbo ẹ̀ pátápátá ni ọ̀rọ̀ Ànábì máa ń ṣe kíni ló máa ń kó dání nígbà tó bá ń bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀. So ọpọlọ ò lè ṣe kíni, kò lè símbò míì nígbà tí ẹni tọ́lọ́ ń torí ẹ̀dá lé ayé, Ànábì wa Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tó ní kó ṣorí irú, ẹni tọ́lọ́ ní kó ṣorí irú láyé, ẹni tọ́lọ́ nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí jù, nígbà tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀, báwo ni wọ́n ṣe ní ṣe kíni, báwo ni wọ́n ṣe ní àbùkọ tó sọ náà ṣe ní ha sórí? Ló fi jẹ́ wípé ó fẹ́ mọ́ sí nǹkankan tí Ànábì ṣe sallallahu alaihi wasallam tí wọ́n ṣe kíni, tí wọ́n ṣọ́ sọ́pọlọ, bí àánú ṣe ni àbí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ṣe kíni tó tẹnu rẹ̀ jábọ́, wípé Ọlọ́run ṣe ìgbésí ayé rẹ̀ ní fọ́tò fún gbogbo ẹni tó bá ti fẹ́ ṣe kíni, gbogbo ẹni tó bá ti fẹ́ ṣoríire. Kí àwa náà tí àjọmọlẹ́yìn rẹ̀, káwa náà ká ṣe kíni, ká ṣe ra wa jiná, kó ba lè jẹ́ wípé ibi tá bá ti dé, ọ̀rọ̀ wa máa ju ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan tí àwọn èèyàn máa mú dání tó ní words of marbles lọ. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn nǹkan tá à ń pè ní words of marbles lénìí, àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan ni tó ṣe wípé they can only short live, but ọ̀rọ̀ Ànábì Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ọ̀rọ̀ tó ṣe wípé evergreen ni. Àti àwọn tí wọ́n tẹ̀lé náà tí wọ́n bá ti ṣe ìṣe tí Ànábì ṣe yìí, wọ́n máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ ìkan nínú àwọn ọmọ kéwu Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ọmọ kéwu Anas bin Malik tó jẹ́ khadimu Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wọ́n pè báyìí ní Hasan Bisiri. Táwọn afábá àwọn tí wọ́n tó wá bá Hasan Bisiri pàdé, wọ́n mọ̀ wá sọ̀rọ̀, wọ́n ní kalamuhu yushbihu kalam al-anbiya, ọ̀rọ̀ Hasan Bisiri bó bá dẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí, ọ̀rẹ́ rẹ̀ máa ń jọ ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ànábì Ọlọ́run bákan náà gbogbo àwọn tó máa ti wá ń ṣe kí tó máa ti wá ń rúrú rìn tí wọ́n ń rìn yìí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn ò kì í ṣe kí ni ọ̀rọ̀ wọn ò kì í tí àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ mọ̀ ṣe kí wọ́n ń ṣọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ wọn sọ̀pọ̀ lọ́wọ́ kì í fẹ́ kí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn kó sọnù so kọ́lọ́mbà àlekọ́lá kó ṣàánú àwa náà o nínú àwọn èèyàn tá a ní òun náà ni Abul Ala al-Mawdudi gbogbo kútúbà tó ṣe pátápátá wọ́n dẹ̀ kójọ nínú àwọn èèyàn báyìí òun náà ni Sayyid Qutb èyí tó ikú tó bá lanu báyìí ọkọ̀ Allahu Akbar kò sí nǹkan míì tí àwọn ẹbí di báyìí nínú wọn náà ni bàbá wa Hassan al-Banna kọ́lọ́mbà àlekọ́lá kó bá kẹ́gbọ́n wọn papọ̀ gbogbo àwọn ẹni pátápátá àti ogunlọ́gọ̀ nínú wọn nínú àwọn èèyàn tó ṣe wípé wọ́n ṣe kí ni wọ́n identify ara wọn pẹ̀lú sọ́ọ̀sì oríire gangan eléyìí tí ó ti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni tí ó dá èmi àti ẹ̀rí àwọn ẹni ní bàbá wa Hudhaifa ó ní ahfadhu khutubata gbogbo kútúbà ní ìgbà mo ṣe kí ni mo ṣọ̀ṣọ́ pọlọ mi ìjẹ́ ìgbè kan sọ níbẹ̀ ọ̀kọ́ wọn ní fajalasa Abu Sa'laba ó bá ṣe kí ni ó bá jókòó wípé ẹni tó ha kútúbà ànábì sórí mo fẹ́ ṣe kí ni èmi náà fẹ́ gbọ́ direct ilé tí ó ṣe kí ni nígbà tá a ní tí tá a bá fẹ́ ṣọ́ nǹkan nísìn nǹkan tá a fi ń ṣọ́ òní kí ni ká rìkọ́ọ̀dù ẹ̀ ká sọ sínú CD ọpọlọ àwọn ẹni ó ṣe kí ni èdè ọpọlọ wa náà lè ọpọlọ àwọn tá à ń bá gbá yé ní ìsìn náà lè jiná nígbà tó bá jẹ́ pé nǹkan tá à ń bá wọn sọ ẹ̀rí nǹkan tí ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ Muhammad ní sallallahu alayhi wa sallam torí ìdí ẹ̀ ànábì wa Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kò sẹ́ni tó tó láyé nínú ọmọ ẹ̀dẹ́ yẹn kò sẹ́ni tó tó ẹnìkan kan ò dẹ̀ lè tó mọ́ láti jọ́ táyé ti ń jáyé ẹnìkan ò tó ẹ̀rí tó fi dì sí ẹnìkan ò tó tálíkà mo fi dí ẹnìkan ò lè tó Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mo ń sọ fún àwọn èèyàn kan lánàá wípé wọ́n ní ẹni tó jẹ́ main opposition ní Russia tí ó gbé tó wá wúkọ́ pẹ́kẹ́ báyìí gbogbo Russia ó mọ̀ ṣe kí ni yóò mọ̀ mí títí ní ẹ̀rí wọ́n ní wọ́n wá jù sẹ́wọ̀n ìgbà tó wá jù sẹ́wọ̀n oríṣi ìnira náà fi ń kàn ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tó dùn jù nínú ìnira tí wọ́n fi ń kàn òun ni nǹkan tó náà bá sọ̀kalẹ̀ fún ànábì Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tán jẹ́ kó ní access sí nínú fẹ́ study Al-Qur'ani Karim wọ́n ní kò sáàyè torí mọ̀ pé tí Kùránì bá tún dé gbèsè ayé ẹni tí ó ti di nǹkan sáwọn lára yìí tí Kùránì bá tún dé gbèsè ayé àti àṣẹ kí ni a rí fọ́ọ̀mù ẹ̀ ó lóun fẹ́ study ẹ̀ kó ti ka Kùránì kó ti ráyè jókòó tì ẹni ò kì í ṣe mùsùlùmí o ṣùgbọ́n ó fẹ́ ṣe kí ni ó fẹ́ jókòó ti ọ̀rọ̀ Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kó lè ṣe kí ni kó bá lè purify rẹ̀ kọ́lọ̀ kó bá guide ẹ̀ irú eléyìí ni Malcolm X ló padà ní access sí bó ṣe jẹ́ pé black activist ní tẹ́lẹ̀ tí ó wá padà ní access sí mẹ́sẹ̀gì Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kìrìkìrì ló bá di gbajúgbajà ló di ẹni tó ṣe wípé láàrin student activism ẹni tó bá fẹ́ ṣe student activism tó fẹ́ ṣe tẹ̀mítẹ̀mí tí ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ eléyìí tí àṣẹ ni tó ṣe wípé torí àpò ẹ̀rí àjọpọ̀ àkànfẹ́ hàn nìkan ẹ̀yìn ìṣèkìlá fẹ́ ṣe fẹ́ tẹ̀mítẹ̀mí láti liberate àwọn èèyàn ẹ̀rí kò sí ẹnìkan tó lè rí ṣe àdúgbàjú kí n tó bá ní link pẹ̀lú anabi Muhammad yẹn ni sallallahu alaihi wasallam so Abu Sa'laba al-Khushani wọn ní fajalas ó bá jókòó qala Hudhaifa bá ní qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam anabi wa Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kí ìjẹ́ Ọlọ́run àti ọlá rẹ̀ tó tí méjèèjì pé kó mọ ọbẹ̀ fún ó sọ yìí pé takunu nubuwwatu fikum ma sha Allah an takuna wípé ìjánabi Ọlọ́run lákòókò tí àṣepọ̀ láàrin ilẹ̀ àti sánmọ̀ tí tó sopọ̀ dáadáa tí líǹkì yẹn ò ṣe kíni tí líǹkì yẹn ò já lákòókò tó ṣe wípé tí a bá ń ṣe dáa lórí ilẹ̀ ẹ̀rí Ọlọ́run mọ̀ ṣe kí ni yóò mọ̀ jẹ́rìí sí pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣe yẹn kárí. Láàkó tó ṣe pé nígbà tá a bá ti ń ṣàṣìṣe lórí ilẹ̀ Ọlọ́run yóò mọ̀ ké wa lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ pé nǹkan tẹ̀ ń ṣe ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó ẹ jáwọ́ díẹ̀. Ló fi rán wa létí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ kan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tí lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí Ànábì kú láyé tán Abubakar radiyallahu anhu àti Umar radiyallahu anhuma wọ́n wá lọ bẹ̀ ìkan nínú àwọn ìyá wọ́n lọ bẹ̀wò wọ́n pè ní Ayman yìí ó wà pẹ̀lú ìyá ànábì sallam nígbà tí ìyá ànábì gbé bọ̀ sallallahu alaihi wasallam padà sí ìlú Mọ́kà. Ìyá yìí olùgbọ́lọ́wọ́ bá gbọ́ ni tó tẹ̀lé ànábì dáadáa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wọ́n ní àwọn Abubakar àti Umar wá lọ bẹ ìyá yìí wò. Bí ìyá yìí ṣe rí wọn lọ́nkán bá bẹ̀ sí sunkún. Ẹkún tó ń sùn yìí ó jẹ́ kí Abubakar àti Umar káwọn náà máa sunkún. Wọ́n á sunkún títí. Nígbà tí wọ́n á sunkún tí wọ́n dákẹ́, wọ́n á ní ìkànnì wọn á béèrè ìrẹ ìyá kí lè tó fi ń sunkún, ṣé o mọ̀ pé ànábì máa kú ni? Kana li nafsin an tamuta illa bi idhnillah. Ẹ̀mí kan ò lè dákú àfi kọ́lọ́run kọ́kọ́ yọ̀ǹda. Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Gbogbo ẹ̀mí ni ó tọ́ ikú wò. Ó mọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tí ń pa lẹ́kún ni inqita'ul wahy. Òun náà rí wípé wà yìí mọ̀ wá láti sánmọ̀. Tàbá ti ṣe dáa ti mọ̀ pé ojú ọ̀nà la wà. Tí a bá ti wá ṣàṣìṣe Ọlọ́run ti kí wa lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ ká má ṣe kíni kí a má bàa sọnù bí nǹkan tó ṣe kíni nǹkan tí ó ń pa lẹ́kún rẹ̀. Ìyẹn ni ànábì wa ń sọ kó tó di pé ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ànábì wa ní takunu nubuwa wípé ìjà ànábì Ọlọ́run yóò wà láàrin yín masha Allahu an takuna títí di ìgbà tí Ọlọ́run bá fẹ́. Ọlọ́run ní kí ìgbà yìí kó má bèèmí àti yín láyé. Abubakar Umar Ayman ta sọ ó bá wọn láyé. Àwọn ní opportunity yẹn wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe kí wọ́n identify pẹ̀lú oríire yẹn wọ́n ṣe oríire yẹn kọ́nà balẹ̀kọ́lá kó bá ṣe kí àtìgẹ̀ fún wọn. Àwa tábà náà kọ́nà balẹ̀kọ́lá tí ó jẹ́ kí àwa náà dé líǹkì tòótọ́ ẹ̀rí pẹ̀lú oríire yẹn kó dẹ̀ má ṣe kí ni kí ó má yẹ wá ń bẹ̀ láíláí. Allahumma ahyina ala sunnati Muhammadin wa amitna ala millati Muhammadin wa hshurna fi zumrati Muhammadin
Amin. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We'll thank our stars for the presentation of the Moyasha segment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. As usual, he has done beautiful justice to the topic, the hadith being related to us. And we thank the presentation of the graphics of the hadith as well for those who were following us to heart. Now, we'll move to the next one. Like I was telling us about, for those who are just joining us, I was telling us about what to expect for this year's the day one of the second phase of the 111th Islamic Vacation course put together by the Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit. Today, the lecture is centered on the hijab between permissibility and condemnation. A whole lot of things are going to be discussed. We have people who are more than capable to anchor the event for us. We have 3 or 4 legal experts that's going to give us a whole lot of things as regards that. So the next now is to move to the next agenda, which is going to be the recitation from the the Amir's welcome address. It's the 111th edition of the IVC. I'm sure everyone listening to me who can hear the sound of my voice at the moment will know that I am not 100 yet, but I know I've been attending camp now for more than 2 decades, if not, I think more than 3 decades. Yes, more than 3 decades now. Alhamdulillah, I'm witnessing the 111th edition. I hope and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant me more and more edition of the IVC. So I'm going to hand over the mic to the number 1 citizen of the Muslim community, also of the Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit, the person of Malam Miftauddin Thani, my very good brother, my friend, and somebody I respect so much. Amir sir, bismillah.
Okay, sir. Can you check the platform, sir? Mr. Aloha, Amir is not online yet. Check the platform for the next line of action.
Okay, all right.
Let's have
okay, so
memory
Ustaz,
lane this next.
okay, so is Ustaz
Abdulaziz.
Ali back? Ustaz Abdulaziz
Yes,
Ali.
he's back. He's back. He's back.
Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Ustaz, we are glad to have you back, sir. The network wanted to deny us of having the memory lane. Well, alhamdulillah that you are back now. Bismillah, sir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك يا رحمة للعالمين قل إن يوحى إلي
Yet again, we seems to be having the network issue with Ustaz Abdulaziz Ali's from his side, and well, alhamdulillah for what we'll still continue. We'll still see if we can bring it back. If we are able to still bring Ustaz back, we will have the memory lane, inshallah. But at the moment, we need to move to another segment of the program while we wait for the network of Ustaz Abdulaziz to get better, because it's important for us to have the memory lane.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Naam, I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Continue.
Okay, Bismillah. Alhamdulillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون فإن تولوا فقل آذنتكم على سواء وإن أدري أقريب أم بعيد ما توعدون. Do I recite more? Is okay.
Now let's have it 2 more times, Ustaz. Then after which we will be engaging some of our delegates who can actually
Okay.
try or make efforts to recite for us. So immediately after Ustaz finish the third one on the third time, we will be asking delegates presently on camp at the moment to give it a try to see if we can get 1 or 2 early prize winner that we have for us at the end of the camp. Now, Bismillah, Ustaz. 2 more times, sir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون فإن تولوا فقل آذنتكم على سواء وإن أدري أقريب أم بعيد ما توعدون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون فإن تولوا فقل آذنتكم على سواء وإن أدري أقريب أم بعيد ما توعدون صدق الله العظيم.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Jazakallah khairan, Ustaz, for the beautiful recitation of the memory lane, and that is Quran chapter 21, Surah 2 Anbiya, verses 105 to 10. It's actually got it to verse 109, but you're supposed to stop at. I know some of the delegates have actually call attention to that, but we'll give it a try. For those who can give it a try, we want to probably indicate in the comment section for those who want to give it a trial, or you could just I don't know if the technique, if the microphone is can allow us to open or to unmute ourselves. Okay, I have offers already from Madam ABDULWAASI, who is saying I want to give it a trial. And remember what I said earlier at the start of the event. Okay, I have number 2, Malam. I have a second person now who wants to give that. I'm only going to allow 4 or 5 persons, yes, to give it a try. So number 1 is Malam Abdulaziz Olagunju. Then number 2 is Aja Aziza Musari. Number 3, Brother Said Olurebi. Then I have, okay, thank you, the technical team. Then number 4, I have Madam Abdulatif Adebisi. Then the final person will be Ajia Rohana Okwere. So those are the 5 persons that will be allowed to give it. So I don't want to go back to relaying what the verses told us. So, and we'll be opening the microphone now for the number 1 person to make a trial. Bismillah. Please kindly unmute your mic now, Malam Abdulaziz Olagunju. Ustaz Abdulaziz, please kindly be online at alert to do the assessment for us if it's okay, well recited. Now, Malam Abdulaziz Olagunju, please unmute your mic. If Malam Abdulaziz Olagunju is not online or is having issues with his mic, I might have to move to the number 2 persons. It means I will give one more person the slot. I'll give the slot of Malam Abdulaziz.
You have to unmute him, sir. I think you have to unmute him.
Oh, okay. The technical team, please help with that, please. Abdulaziz Olagunju.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ولقد كتبنا في ظبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحين إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلى أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون صدق الله العظيم.
Now, okay, can we have the second person now? Aja Fatima Oyedeji. Can we give it a trial? Ustaz Abdulaziz will give us the assessment at the end of the recitation from the delegates, those that have been given numbers. Aja Fatima Oyedeji. Can we have you now? Technical team, please kindly help mute. Aja Monsuro Kewale, sorry, we already gave out numbers. Sorry, because we need to manage our time. Okay, Aja Aziza Musori, can we have you now? Aja Aziza, the number 2 person. Host, please unmute Sister Aziza Musari's mic.
Now, can I start?
Bismillah, ma.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون إن شاء الله. صدق الله العظيم.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan for that. Then Madam Saeed Olurebi, please, next to you. You are next, rather. Madam Saeed Olurebi. Madam Abdulatif ABDULWAASI, please be getting set immediately after Madam Saeed Olurebi. You get your mic on mute and you try so that
No,
we save out.
sorry.
Now, why sound like a Bismillah, please?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون؟
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan, Allahu Akbar. Thank you so much, Madam Saeed. Sorry, lest I forget, for the remaining 2 persons now, we'll appreciate if you can mention your Madam Latif ABDULWAASI. Hold on, please. Please kindly mention your area council so that we know where you are from. We want to know where you're from. So, Madam Saeed, are you still on? What's your area council, please? Madam Saeed,
I'm word of him.
Now, so Madam Abdulatif ABDULWAASI, you're next, please. Kindly mention your area council before the recitation. After Madam Abdulatif ABDULWAASI, Sister Rihanna will follow suit. And don't forget to mention the area council. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
From Ijede Area Council.
Ijede Area Council. Allah Akbar. Now, Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عبيدي وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما إلا أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون صدق الله العظيم.
Allahu Akbar. Now, Madam, sorry, Sister Royana Ukwere, please, your area council and your recitation, please.
Nah, I'm from Yaba Area Council.
Okay. Allahu
Yaba
Akbar.
Area Council.
Okay, Sister Aziza Musori is from your area council. Madam Abdulaziz Olaguju, I will appreciate if you can post your area council on the text, the messenger platform, please. We appreciate that. Sister Aziza Musori is from area council. So we've had area council, AMOO of area council. Ijede just recited his own, and we have okay, Madam Abdulaziz said it's from Yaba area council. Mashallah. Sister Ukwere, which area council are you from again, please?
I'm from Yaba Area Council.
Yaba area council. Okay, so we have two Yaba now. Okay, now Bismillah. Your recitation, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون فإن تولوا فقل آذنتكم على سواء وإن أدري أقريب أم بعيد ما توعدون صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah Karen Ajariana Ukwere from Yaba Area Council. Now, Ustaz Abdulaziz, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Although I'm having I got a message from my from one of the organizers now that we can accommodate more reciters from the delegates. Some those who have the early indicators, those who indicated earlier that they want to try. So I don't know. Should we accommodate more now, or you want to give us the assessment before we go on?
Among the reciters,
yes, sir.
Can I just give you so the first reciter from Yaba, that's Abdulaziz Alagunju.
No.
So his recitation is very weak. He got a weak recitation. So the brother from Eredo,
Madam Said Olurebi.
The sister
from Eredo, yeah. Aziza Musari.
The sister from Eredo, Aziza Musari. She read well. Only that she didn't observe the rules very well, but she was able to read through without the rules, observing the rules. So she has a good recitation.
Okay.
So the next person is AMOO of
Malam Said Olurebi.
Yes, but Said Oluremi read very well. So he got a very good recitation. So his recitation is very good. But he had a little mistake. just little mistake in the recitation. Instead of saying Mim ba'di, they said ba'a. So giving the ain fatha instead of sukun. So that was the only mistake he made. So brother from Ijede, Abdulatif DBC, he tried. So his recitation is a fair one, not a good recitation, but he got a fair recitation. Barakallahu. Then the last sister that read from Yaba Area Council, Sister Rehan Obere, her recitation is excellent. So she read well, observing the rules to the core. So she's the winner of the reciters. I can say she and brother Sain Dulwemi, they are the winners. So
Alhamdulillah. From what you read, I also gave I attached positions to it, and just like you said, I gave Sister Ryan Okpere, I gave her the number 1, then Said Olurebi number 2. I have here Abdulatif ABDULWAASII number 3. I hope I'm correct. Aja Sister Aziza Musari as number 4. Then the one from the rear is Madam Abdulaziz. But Alhamdulillah, they all try. It's not easy to address. At the moment now, we have about 300 delegates. Precisely, we have 285 delegates on virtual camp. And for 5 out of all those people, for 5 of them to, indicate that they want to give it a try, it's not easy. So alhamdulillah, inshallah, they are all going to get gifts, but it will be in different format, except if the organizer says otherwise. So okay, so I have let me see who is next now. We still want to give more people trial. By 10:40, inshallah, we'll move to the next event. We'll move to the next item on the agenda. So I'm trying to go back to see who. I think it's Umu Kuthmo also. I hope I'm correct. Okay, yeah, so we have Umu Kuthmu, but I don't know, is Umu Kuthmu is still on? If she's on, I'm going to give her the next set of reciters. I'll give Umu Kuthmu number 1. Malam Abdul, is this a male or female? I can see Abdul Salam Kehinde Hussainat here. Abdul Salam Kehinde Hussainat, I can see that here. Number 3. No, sorry, number 2. No, sorry, she didn't indicate. She's actually thanking the hosts. Then I'll give Brother Zakaria Lawal, who indicated to recite number 2 after Umukuthmu. Then Aja Sister Zainab Yusuf as number 4. Number 3, sorry. Then Sulaiman Olawumi as number 4. Then Sharif Din Shekoni, if it is Sharif Din Shekoni that I know, is a brother and a friend, I will give him number 5. So Umukuthmu, please kindly go on with the recitation.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Alaikum salam. You're welcome, sir. Madam Kasumo, are you back? You're welcome to the program, sir. Kindly hold on for the MC to retake charge.
Yeah, we apologize for that short delay. While we expect the lead MC to come back and take charge, I think we are trying to get some recitations from our members. We have one of the panelists here with us, so when the lead MC comes around, he's going to take charge from that. Once again, welcome us to the 111th Islamic Vacation Course, um, one of the biggest events of MSSNLagos State Area Units. As of now, we have over 266 participants here with us. Want to try to employ every one of us to go back online on our WhatsApp, wherever places that we could get our people to come join this event. As what we'll be learning today is going to be a very interesting and very interactive one. So we would also love us to make noise on our social media platforms, on our individual status, and try to share nugget on things that you are learning on this IVC. Want to have a replicant of us having it in a physical place, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward us abundantly. So pending the time that we expect Idris to start to kickstart the panel session, I wouldn't know whether we will have anyone else that would love to. Okay. So we would love to allow Ustaz Abdulaziz Ali to make the recitations again, and we would love you to take it in a very slow motion
so that people that are just trying to learn it could get some of those rules of tajweed and things like that, and even could also explain some rules for us so that we could actually know them now. So Ustaz Abdulaziz Ali, you hope to have you. We would love to have you now, inshallah.
نعم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد كتبنا في الزبور من بعد الذكر أن الأرض يرثها عبادي الصالحون إن في هذا لبلاغا لقوم عابدين وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون. Now, the recitation, I took a middle course of elongation for all the elongations there, all the modud. For my isti'adha and basmala, I observe tawassut for the elongation of modul amid al-sukun. So it is 4 seconds elongation for the isti'adha and basmala. Individual can decide to observe qasir, which is harakatan, 2 seconds of elongation, or tul, which is the maximum elongation, 6 seconds for both isti'adha and basmala. So whichever degree of elongation we have chosen to adopt, once we start our recitation, we just have to stick to it. For instance, now, if you decide to observe 6 seconds of elongation for your modul ardul sukun, each time you're observing modul ardul sukun, then you have to stick to that 6 seconds elongation. So then we also have modul wajib al-muttasil there.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan, Ustaz Abdulaziz Ali, and I want to sincerely apologize for the earlier silence caused by network and technical Jazakallah khairan, Ustaz. I will quickly go to the next the lecture segments now of today's event. We want to appreciate all the delegates that are presently on camp following the activities, and we are at the point now where we'll move to the lecture segment, and we want to inform us that we have in our midst our father, an erudite legal luminary, the president of the national president, not just the national president of the Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria. That is Mulan, the person of Professor ABDULQODIR IBRAHIM ABIKAN. I hope I pronounce the last name very well, sir. Prof, sir, alhamdulillah, we are glad to have you in our midst. The entire Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit, and environs are happy to have you in our midst. Like I said earlier in our introduction, the topic for discussion is going to be hijab between permissibility and condemnation, and we have capable or more than capable hands that are already in our midst to do justice to it. I just introduced to us Professor ABDULQODIR IBRAHIM ABIKAN. We also have one of us, a prominent and renowned legal practitioner, Barrister ABDULWAASII AMOO, somebody I've known for a very long time and I respect so much. And the face of hijab rights advocacy in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, and even outside Nigeria, Barrister MUTIAT OROLU Balogun, the Executive Director of Hijab Rights Advocacy Initiative. The three of them are speakers, they are panelists for today, and they'll be doing justice to the topic of discussion. Professor ABIKAN, I welcome you to this year's edition of Islamic Vacation course put together by the Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for inviting me to this program.
Yeah, we are sorry for also delaying you, sir. It's due to a bit of a network and technical issue. Barrister ABDULWAASII, sir, are you want you to say Taslim to the house and Barrister AMOO, Barrister AMOO, please kindly unmute Barrister AMOO, please, if his mic is muted.
Now, Assalamualaikum.
Now,
Barrister AMOO is here to join us. I think he's having some technical issues.
Oh, okay. We hope we'll solve that out immediately. I also want to use the opportunity to welcome the face of hijab rights advocacy in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. If you talk about hijab advocacy, the name that comes to mind immediately is no other than a very good sister of mine, Barrister MUTIAT OROLU Balogun. Barrister MUTIAT, say Taslim to the house, man, please.
Okay, she's not yet.
Oh, she's
not yet. Let's get started with it.
Okay, all right. So I'll just go straight now to hand over the mic to our father in the house, the national president of the Muslim Lawyer Association of Nigeria, Professor ABDULQODIR IBRAHIM ABIKAN, to take us through the topic hijab between permissibility and condemnation. Bismillah.
Alhamdulillah. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Wa na'udhu bihi min shururi anfusina min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillah fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallim. Let me begin by appreciating the organizers of this event for inviting me to share my thoughts, my experience, my research output in this very important area in our national development, particularly in Nigeria. I should begin by saying that we find ourselves in an unfortunate situation that we are still bothering ourselves with whether our girl child, our sisters, whether in lower or higher institutions of learning, should be allowed to dress like Muslims or dress as Muslims. I say it's unfortunate because it's a show of the level of backwardness of our country and the level of intolerance, level of show of superiority by those who are by number and by every yardstick that they will also rely on in terms of who constitutes the higher population of the country. are supposed to be not the minority per se, but they are behind Muslims in terms of numbers in Nigeria, are the one that think they should dictate how others who are supposed to be co-traveler in our national development should live their life. I say this because we have an antecedent. We have our history that if anybody believes that he can live in the present life without reference to where we are coming from, it means we are not even ready for development. Because the issue of hijab, to my mind, has become a kind of distraction, considering a number of challenges that our country is having. And if a section of the country will insist that it must be the one to tell us how to live without even defining to us, asking us what are the acceptable ways by us, then it's quite unfortunate. I say we have a history that is hundreds of years even before we come together as a country to be called Nigeria. Of course, the colonization of our country is an unfortunate thing that tried to uproot the religious component or part of the country that have been Muslims hundreds of years before the colonial masters came. That was an unfortunate development in our history, that some people came, they subjugated us, and they tried to remove all the semblance of Islam. But even as at that time, when the colonial masters were living and were handing over the country to Nigerians, they did not pretend themselves so much in a way to go to a market and remove the gap of Islam that Muslims put on themselves. So if at this level we're still battling with whether hijab is permissible or should be condemned, it means we're still far, far behind, because it has become a reality globally that you cannot just remove hijab from the Muslims. You can't do it. It's not done anywhere. So those who are agitating for secession and the rest of it, even if they eventually have their country, the Yoruba nation, the Igbo, that does not still remove Islam even from their land. Because as we the administration of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs today, the administration officer is an Igbo man, born Muslim, and is a retired person. That's over 60. So his father gave birth to him as a Muslim. His father was given birth to as a Muslim. So in Igbo land, you have generation that has, lived for over 100 years that their roots, they have been Muslims. So you cannot say they are no longer Igbos because they are Muslims, or because the non-Muslim are the majority, so they have to jettison their religion or their way of life. That is not done. I'm going to this foundation to let us appreciate that, look, it's just a joke. And the earlier those who are perpetrating that line of thinking realize that they are wasting the time of the nation. The time and energy that we're supposed to use to concentrate on our national development, on issues that will improve our common coexistence. Anybody that continues to harp on whether hijab should be used or not is just wasting our time. And in fact, must be seen as a saboteur to our national development, because they are distracting us. If you look at what we have gone through in different states where hijab cases have been prosecuted, you realize that these are wastages that they are causing to us. For Muslims, nobody should be reminded about the fact that Islam is not just a matter of permissibility, it's a compulsion. So I must say from the onset, when we're talking about permissibility, maybe we are referring to those who want to be dictating the life of Muslims for them. But if we are talking as Muslims, issue of hijab under hukm shari is wajib. And if they say something is permissible, it means you may not be penalized if you don't do it. If it's just permissible, if you like, you do it. If you like, you don't do it. If you do it, good for you. If you don't do it, you are not punished. For instance, in the area of mu'amalat, you want to engage in trading, for instance. It's permissible to trade for Muslims, but it's not compulsory for Muslims to engage in trading. Okay? So under Hukm Shari, the rule of Sharia, there are 5 of them that, or 6 of them that say wajib, mandub, makruh, and the rest of them. That is something that is compulsory, something that is permissible, something that is haram. So if you put it on that scale, the issue of hijab is compulsory. It's not just a permissible act that somebody has a choice of whether to do it or not. So if they want to be, the non-Muslims now that are insisting that their child cannot use hijab in our schools, then we'll tell them that, look, it's not only permissible, but it's also compulsory for a Muslim, female Muslim, to wear hijab. So if something is compulsory as part of his way of life, and you are now saying that he should not be allowed, it means you want to degrade him from the level of being human being. It's like you want to remove the skin from an animal. Okay? So if you remove the skin from an animal, it means you want to kill it. That's what it means. So it is that serious for a Muslim lady. So it's not a matter of choice, except in circumstances that Allah knows that the circumstance of darurat, that you have exceedingly difficult situation, which no Muslim in Nigeria will be allowed to claim that it's under that circumstance in Nigeria now. Okay? So as far as whether hijab is permissible or not for Muslims, it's not only permissible, it's compulsory. If you look at the verse of the Quran, where Allah was telling the Prophet about hijab, Allah commanded the Prophet, Kul azwajika wa banatik. Allah was telling the Prophet to tell his wives and children and the believing Muslim women, yudnina alayna min jalabi bi'inna, that they should adorn. It's a must that they should adorn their hijab. Okay? So it's not a matter of choice for Muslims. So it's compulsory for Muslims to wear their hijab. Now, I will not bore you about description of hijab because we used to have some problems initially when some people insist that probably Muslim sisters should wear black or this. The description of hijab by scholars is not by color, by texture. In fact, except the kind of dresses, they will just give general description that the dress of a female should not be tight-fitted, that will show a shape. It should not be a color that will be calling onto others, like too attractive that everybody should look at my side. That it should be loose, cover them from head to toe, with exception of the face and the hands. So whatever description or texture of material that is halal, that is not transparent, that can be used for that purpose, will qualify as hijab. So that if you have in our own area, people who want to wear Ankara, for instance, they call some Guinea, lace, and the rest of them. If all the rules of transparency, the rules of not being scented, the rules of not being tight-fitted, if all these were complied with, a Muslim would have been seen to have, a Muslim sister would have been seen to have complied with the issue of hijab. After all, hijab is supposed to be a gap that is a covering that will conceal what is not to be seen of a female Muslim. Now, having said that, I must also mention that it is important, everybody is almost conscious now of the need to use hijab and of the fact that some people are trying to define their lives, our lives for us. I say nobody on earth has that capability. We are bona fide citizens of this country. We have our rights, even under the law that are not altogether Islamic. Okay? The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria protects the right of a female Muslim in Nigeria, whether in private or in public, to practice their religion. And in fact, the current position as far as interpretation of Section 38 of our Constitution on freedom of religion is concerned, having to do with the issue of hijab, the current law all over the country now is that hijab in our school is part of human rights of female Muslims. We have had cases in Lagos State. We have had cases in Osun State. We have had cases in Kwara State, all of which have gotten up to Supreme Court. So at the High Court and Court of Appeal, the judgment in all these courts is that our female Muslims are entitled as of right to use hijab in their schools. Now, let me take us a little into what happened in Kwara State. I'm not familiar with the education law of Lagos State, but I know that if education law is designed in a way to comply with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it should not be different from what is obtainable in Kwara State. We have education law in Kwara State of 2006, and Section 30 and 31 of that law talks about the issue of accessibility or discrimination on ground of religion, that nobody should be denied access to any educational institution registered by government. No, it's not a matter of being a public or private school now. Even private school. For instance, a Christian school under this law, a Muslim parent has right to take their child to school owned privately by non-Muslims, even if it's mission-owned school. So the law is saying, and this is law that has been interpreted by the High Court of Kwara State, that has been interpreted by a Court of Appeal. We are now at the Supreme Court for further interpretation of the law. But the interpretation at these two levels of court is that even if the school is owned by Christian Mission, for instance, and I'm a neighbor of that school, for instance, if that's the closest school to my neighborhood, as a parent, and I don't want to stress my child, I have right to take my child to that school. I'm talking about private school now, because for public school is taken for granted. That's automatic. But I'm saying even in private school, let's say, for instance, Catholic nursery and primary school, for instance. Under the law, a Muslim has right to take a child there. They must enroll her there and allow her not only to wear hijab, but to create avenue for her to take religious lesson that is in conformity with the dictates of the religion of her parent or guardian. In fact, Section 31 of that law is saying that if there is no arrangement, it's difficult to make arrangement. For instance, in the old school, we have just one Muslim girl. One Muslim girl. So the law is saying that in the first instance, you cannot deny her admission because of religion, because she has a right of access to education anywhere in Nigeria where education institution is established, because that educational institution has been registered by the state government. So that institution is regulated by the law of state, and the law of state is now saying that you cannot deny her right of access to education. So that's one phase. The other phase is that having access to religious instruction. Section 31 says that nobody, no student should be compelled to take any religious instruction different from that of a parent or a guardian, his or her guardian. So meaning that even in mission schools, whether public or private, that we have Muslim students registered, they're entitled to be excused from religious instruction different from that of their parents. But not only that, the school has a duty to make arrangement for them to have access to religious instruction that is in conformity with the dictates of the religion of their parents. The law goes further to say that if it becomes difficult for the school to make such arrangement, the parents are allowed to make private arrangements, whether in another school nearby or a private arrangement, so that when it is time for Bible knowledge, for instance, that Muslim student, even if it's the only one in the school, must be allowed, must be excused to leave the school premises and go and take that instruction where the parents have made an arrangement and will come back at a time where that is allocated for that religious instruction. At the end of that period, the student will come back to the school and continue with other classes. Meaning that when a Muslim child finds himself or herself in a mission school where they cannot make arrangement for probably Quranic instruction or Islamic studies, that period, assuming that between 10 and 10:30 every day is the time allocated for religious classes, that student is allowed by law to be taken to madrasa nearest to the school to go and learn Islamic studies and come back at the end of the period allocated for that studies. That is the law. Now, if you look at this analysis I've made, I will see together. Hello?
Yes, very much together, sir. We can hear you loud and clear, Prof.
Okay. I just want to know, because you know the network can be funny sometimes, so I will know that I'm still with you.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. And you, I was going to inform you that we have about Barrister OROLU will call you in a short while. Okay. Now, Prof, sir, I also want to inform you that we have about 13 more minutes to round up, so we can give the other panelists the
how many
opportunity
minutes do
to
I
speak,
have
sir.
now? How many minutes do I have?
13 minutes, sir. 13 minutes. You have to stop by 11:25.
It's all right. Now,
exactly.
I've taken this example because for a long time, even the Muslims are not well informed about these rights. And we have been taken for granted for a long time by those who think they can dictate how we live our lives. It's not done. In fact, we are not second-rated citizens in this country. We are foremost citizens. And for anybody to think that they will dictate our lives for us, like I said, they are more of distraction, and they are not well meaning for this country. Because most of the precious time we're supposed to be using for our national development to teach our students very many good things, we are putting them on crossfire. You see, innocent school children, they are now experiencing fights among adults on whether they should use hijab or they should not use hijab. So I was trying to analyze those laws that were taken in Kwara State. You are all familiar with that case. You are familiar with Lagos and Osun State. That's why I don't want to bore you with the facts. But I'm trying to bring this awareness, particularly to our young ones in schools. Beware, it's your right to use hijab. Our law made provision for it. Our courts have pronounced on it. And the extant law all over the country now, as far as the interpretation of the right to use hijab is concerned, is that every female Muslim is entitled to use hijab, whether in our schools or any other public space. So you cannot be intimidated and you cannot be cowed. You are protected by the law. I'm trying to analyze. You can look at Lagos, the Sister OROLU, education law of Lagos State. But I'm telling you that this is what is expected in any law that is made pursuant to the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If any law makes any provision contrary to what I'm saying that is contained in Kwara State law, that law will be declared null and void, because it's either that the law will be contravening Section 38 on freedom of religion, or Section 42 that say that there must be no discrimination on ground of religion. So for Christians to go to court when
they are managing public school is exhibition of highest level of ignorance of the law. And I'm saying that even in their schools, schools owned by mission, privately owned, they have no right to discriminate against anybody from having access of enrollment in their school just because they are Muslims. And when they are enrolled, by law, they cannot impose their religious teaching, even in their mission school, on Muslims. They have done this for a long time unchallenged. This is what they inherited from the colonial masters, and they think it can be continued that way. But unfortunately for them, globally, interpretation of human rights has shown that they are wrong in their practice all these years. So not only in public schools do the Muslims have rights of access and the practice of their religion, including use of hijab, but they also have the same right in Christian-owned schools, because doing the contrary will amount to discriminating against the Muslims who want to attend their school on ground of religion. Now, the case in Kwara State was instituted by Khan, and alhamdulillah, one of the pronouncements of the court is that Khan is a busybody as far as those cases are concerned, that Khan does not have legal status to be interested in the cases because he's supposed not to be a party. So Khan now putting all the other schools under it, the court says that the Khan, a busybody under the law, is a person that does not have good thing to do with his time. He's now prognosing in other people's affairs. So the court says the Khan is only prognosing in affair that does not concern it. That the ownership and management of schools that were in court solely belong to Kwara State. So Khan is not an owner of any of those schools, and he does not have right to be a party in those cases. The case is presently at the Supreme Court. I learned that of Lagos State is also at the Supreme Court. That of Osun State is also at the Supreme Court. We are working assiduously to ensure that probably these cases will be harmonized and that they must be treated expeditiously, that we have final pronouncement on this, so that anywhere in the country, nobody would dare molest our sisters again. Now, that is as far as the law is concerned. But in practice, one will be surprised to still see some Christians still behaving as if those judgments are not there. So what that means is that we are the one to ensure that those laws are enforced, okay? We don't just keep quiet, and I'm happy that the MSSN of Lagos State is up to the task. We are Muslims, we are peace lovers, we are peacemakers. We are not troublemakers, but we will not sit back and allow anybody to dictate how we practice our religions to us. Now, let me share our experience on how that of Kwara State was implemented and the crisis that ensued. After that judgment, you know, the court said the government is the owner of the school, Khan is a busybody. Now, for the state government to now implement the judgment became a problem because they are politicians, and you are going to have this experience all over. The same thing will be happening in Lagos. The politicians, they will be careful, particularly when the election is approaching. They do not want to do something to offend the Christians because they want their vote. But the Muslims should also stand up to say that we can also determine whether you are coming back to office or not, even as politicians. And we got to that level with Kwara State government. I'm a party to a visitation to former governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fattah, when he wanted to hand over those schools back to missionaries. And we said, no. The government has invested billions of taxpayers' money on these schools. You cannot just hand it over. It's our patrimony. You hand it over to them. Those that are already misbehaving, even when it's owned by government. Those that refuse to obey the law that says everybody must be given access, everybody must be allowed to practice religion, you now return it to them to run as private schools when government money has been invested. We said no. And we had to come out to the sitting governor. I was in that meeting and told him that, look, we know your fears. You don't want to offend the Christians, probably because you will lose their votes. And we told him, between the Christians and the Muslims, let's go to that vote and determine who is more in population. And we are going to show you, we are telling the governor that we are more in population, and on this case, we are going to ensure that you lose re-election. It was at that point he hands down and refused to hand over the school to the missions. And it was when he refused to hand it over to them that they now went to court to claim the ownership of the school. Okay? So that's an expense. Now, new government came in and we got judgment at the Court of Appeal. But they were also scared of implementing, because it only requires the government through the Ministry of Education to issue circular based on that judgment, that we have received this judgment, and based on this judgment, this circular is passed that every female Muslim that is desirous of using hijab in the school should use it. And the ministry will monitor the design of kind of hijab to be used by different schools that's aligned with their school uniform. That is what is expected of the government. But they refused until Muslim students now came up and wore hijab to schools by force. Because the government refused to act. So it was when they begin to wear it by force. And that happened is like a planned something, that the same day in different schools, female Muslims wore hijab to school. And they know they'll be challenged. Adequate arrangement had been made for them in terms of legal backing. So I'm telling you this, as MSS said, that we have to be strategic in the way we implement even the judgment we have, or the way to make government do what is right when they are trying to be political about it. From our own...
Prof, you have just about 3 minutes to round up, so we can take our other part.
On our own part, what we have done, on the day that those girls use hijab to school, we have provided lawyers attached to all schools in Ilorin and Kwara State, that if anybody is challenged, just call a lawyer. And the lawyer who are there on ground, they invited the police, the schools invited the police to arrest the student, and the lawyers are there to say, no, you don't have rights to arrest them, because there's a judgment that says they can wait. So if the government is irresponsible to implement it, those people have right to enjoy the judgment that has been passed by the court. So having said all this, the battle is not won, because those that are dragging it with us, like I said, they are not well-meaning for this country, because they are wasting the precious time of the country. But it's our right, and every state law must be in accordance with the Constitution to give right of access to all Muslims to either private or public schools, and to establish their right to practice their religion the way it is globally accepted. With these few words, so to round up, it's not just a matter of permissibility, it is compulsory for Muslims to wear hijab, and it's not a subject of condemnation by anybody. They don't have rights to condemn it. Nobody. It's a global phenomenon. Islam is a global religion, and our hijab is a global standard that nobody has right to condemn it. No Muslim has that right. No Christian has that right, and no government can stop us from wearing it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, sir. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, jazakumullah khairan, Professor Professor ABDULQODIR, for taking us through that presentation on hijab between permissibility and condemnation. I'm sure Barrister OROLU and Barrister AMOO are presently online, and without wasting much time, we will be taking them. But there's a slight change in what we have for us because of time, and we are having a panel session. So we will be giving Barrister OROLU and Barrister AMOO 10 minutes each just to address the topic of discussion, after which we will now go to the proper panel session. We'll ask them questions, and expectedly they will respond to those questions. But to set the ball rolling, to just like Professor ABIKAN has rightly done, or did rather, we'll give them 10 minutes each to lay the foundation of between permissibility and condemnation of hijab. A whole lot of our sisters, have had, bad experiences in terms of the way people, especially teachers, secondary school sisters, their experiences they've had in schools, and even sometimes parents find it very difficult, to know what to do to when such events or incidents happen. So officially, I welcome to our midst to the 111th Islamic Vacation course by the Muslim Society of Nigeria Lagos Territorial Unit, Barrister MUTIAT OROLU Balogun, the Executive Director, Hijab Rights Advocacy Initiative. Like I said, as far as I am concerned, I'm a media person, and I know that when you talk about hijab advocacy in Nigeria and some West African countries, Barrister MUTIAT OROLU's name come to mind, even among some of my non-Muslim media colleagues. So as far as I'm concerned, she is the face of hijab advocacy in Nigeria and environs. Permit me to welcome Barrister MUTIAT OROLU to our midst. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I don't know if you can hear me very well.
Loud and clear, man.
Okay, brilliant. I greet my brothers and sisters in Islam by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Particularly, I'll greet the last speaker and the speaker to come. They are both people that I've learned from a lot and I hold in very high esteem. Professor ABIKAN and Barrister ABDULWAASII. May Allah continue to preserve it for us. May Allah increase you in knowledge and guidance. And all our little strivings on the path of Islam, may Allah accept it from us and give us success in all our endeavors. I don't know if I can go ahead to...
Yes, you can, ma, and you are...
Oh, okay.
Like I said, you are ready to just set the ball rolling, lay the foundation for just 10 minutes, because we are still going to go into the proper question and answer segments. Yes, okay. Yes, ma'am. So you have just 10 minutes, ma'am. So you have to stop by 11:38.
Okay, brilliant. No problem. Because after listening to Professor ABIKAN, I think he has covered a lot of ground on, what is the legal basis of hijab and how we are meant to, understand it. But I'm just going to, just add, a little bit here and there, emphasis on, one or two things. I think, firstly, whenever I see the issue, or somebody asks, or somebody says, please permit us to wear the hijab, it's not the right term to use, because you don't need permission from anybody actually to wear the hijab, because the courts have been clear that the hijab falls under, the rights, the human rights of freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. And when we are talking about something when we are saying something is human rights, it is the rights that attaches to you by the virtue of being an human being. It is not a privilege. It is something that you are created with, as it were. And human rights are sui generis rights, as they are rights in their own class. And I would say they are one of the most, if not the most superior, classes of rights, when you are trying to rank rights, because those are the rights that are God-given, that are, even those that don't believe in God, it's something that attaches to your essence as an human being. So you saying somebody is permitting you to wear the hijab, it's not want to say somebody is permitting you to be an human being. So being an human being is not by anybody's permission. It is only by your creator that has, permitted it to be and has created you. So no human being that God has created us all, or even those that don't believe that there is a God that they will say you just happen to be. Even that you're happening to be, your human rights has also happened to be with your existence. So the issue of permissibility is the right word because it is already attached to you as an human being. So every human being on the face of the earth has the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Before I go on, I just wanted to, relate a short story about something that happened to some people that were arrested, illegally arrested and imprisoned at Guantanamo. He was saying his own experience that maybe when he was arrested, they were blindfolded, they were chained, they were in handcuffs, and they were meant to kneel down. And then I think it was time for Mogri. The other brother beside him said at this point, he has not even seen the brother, they were all blindfolded. And the person just whispered to his ear that, have you observed Salat to the Mogri? And he's wondering, we are here, we are bound, we are in chains, you understand? And then one of them just called the common, and the way they have tied them up, they are bound, they are in chains with kudu or without kudu, they observe the Salat to the Maghrib in Jama. So somebody was now asking them, and that's when people asked them the question that when you were in Guantanamo Bay, were they able to prevent you from observing Salat? He said the question was that they couldn't, because even if you throw them into water, when it is time for Salat to Suru, in whatever position they are, they will observe it. If you put them in solitary confinement, even in a place they cannot stand up straight. But so the point again is that what I'm trying to get at is that the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion is something that is part of your essence as a human being, and nobody should be able to take it away from you. When you're convinced with something in your heart, even if you say something else, maybe because you fear for your life or the life of your loved ones, that your conviction in your heart still remains. Nobody can reach into your heart and change it, because that's why it's called freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. So the hijab is part of sisters to know. It's not as if we went to it's nothing of that nature that somebody's permitting you. But although I know on ground, the prevalent thing is to say, okay, now alhamdulillah, they are and all that. So that is that is just the background I wanted to be. So like Prof has explained to us, freedom of thought, conscience, and religion is part of human rights, and these are rights that even the Constitution has spelled it out, that no law or no practical application of any law or any administrative rule can be used to deny can be used to deny a person his human rights. No, so even the fact that we had to, normally if it was in a, how will I say, I don't want to use the word sin, but in an ideal society, we ought not to have gone to court to be able to assert our rights to. Please excuse me. We ought not to have gone to court to be able to exercise our rights to wear the hijab. But because of the situation we are in, we have been went to the High Court, went to the Court of Appeal, and as I have said, most of all those cases are also in the Supreme Court. But with the Constitution we have and the particular subsisting court judgments we also have, to wear the hijab is part of human rights, and no one should be able to take it away from you. And then even the Constitution says, so some will now say, okay, you are in school, you signed up to be in school, you must obey rules and regulations. True. But again, the Constitution is supreme. And any other law that is made, that is inconsistent with the Constitution will be void to the extent of its inconsistency. So the fact that I have signed up to be in school, I have signed up to read law, to go to law school, to do this and do that, does not mean I have signed away my rights. Does not mean whatever law the law school can make will be higher than that of a constitutional provision, much more that of human rights. Again, absolute. Yes, we agree, it's not absolute, because if, for instance, I say I have freedom of movement, and for instance, maybe the government has imposed a curfew due to insecurity or some other reason, or because of health, maybe like during the corona pandemic that there was a lockdown, I cannot say my freedom of my right to move freely would trump that, because even the constitution makes, provision to say where human rights can be, so to speak, restricted. So now we can kind of restrict human rights. And then we go to section 45. That is telling us that nothing in section 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41 of this constitution shall be validated that is reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. For instance, in A, in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, or public health, and then for the purpose of protecting the how does the hijab affect defense of the country of Nigeria? How does it affect public safety? How does it affect public order? How does it go against public morality? How does it go against public health? For the last two, if anything, the hijab promotes public morality and promotes public health. Then some people will now come and say, yes, people wearing hijab, they can use them for suicide bomber, they can use them for this, they can carry something on that. I want to ask, the suicide bombing that they started before started using young, innocent girls, they were using babariga, they were carrying bags, they were wearing suits to, hide their bombs. Why was it never banned that nobody should wear suits? I mean, to wear suits is compulsory. Why was it ever banned that we don't want to see anybody wearing babariga? Everybody should just be wearing singlets and probably leggings so that we know you're not hiding anything. Somebody tried to use his underwear to bomb a plane. Whenever you want to travel out, maybe internationally or locally, they don't ask you that you should not wear underwear. They will screen you. Somebody tried to use the shoe to bomb a plane. When you get to the international airport, you remove your shoe and they scan it and they make sure there's nothing there. But when it now comes to the issue of hijab, they want the hijab to be banned. When every other thing was being used, we never called for banning of those things, even though they were not even religious dressing that people had to wear, because I don't know of any religion where it is compulsory to wear a suit or compulsory to wear an agbada or a babariga. But we have been able to establish that to wear the hijab is compulsory, and then they still want it to be banned, claiming that they're using it to cover up. So I think it's just like when I was small, we were attacked by armed robbers like twice in our house. They wore short and trouser. They hid their guns inside their shirt and trouser. Are we going to say shirt and trouser is bad? Guns and acid and machetes into it? No, we would rather deal with insecurity. So when people try to come out and justify that, they should not wear the hijab again because they're hiding bomb under. The time they were using babariga, nobody came out to say they should ban agbada and all that. So the hijab does not fall under those exceptions to where somebody's, where human rights can be suspended. Again, B says for the protection of the rights and freedom of other persons. So when I wear hijab on my head, which other person am I affecting? Whose rights and freedom of another person am I affecting? Any other thing from somebody that does not wear it. It's only me that is wearing it that has conditions. Okay, don't wear something tight, don't wear something transparent, compose yourself in the right manner, lower your gaze. It's only me that I'm wearing it that has been given such restrictions. Place a restriction on the rights and freedom of another person. So when we are saying even human rights is not absolute, there are exceptions, we agree there are exceptions. But does the hijab fall under this exception? No, it does not fall under these exceptions. So there are many excuses that people try to bring, even unfortunately, Muslims as well, try to justify. Some people will be saying, yes, in school, they forced us to pray the Christian way. They did this. We're not wearing hijab, but I'm a good Muslim. Yes, that's you. You chose not to follow the law of Allah. But do not prevent other Muslims, from doing so. So if we look at, like one of the cases that's now in the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal judgment of Lagos State as reported in Nigeria Weekly Law Report. So if I'm going to quote one of the judges, in that course of appeal, Justice Cordelia Ifoma Jumbo, when she was saying that the foregoing provisions of Section 42 as quoted in 1999 Constitution clearly sends the message that every citizen, which of course includes the first and second appellants, Asat Abikarim, but not Oyeni and members of the MSSN, are imbued with the right to practice, manifest, and even propagate their religious beliefs without restrictions in any community they find themselves within Nigeria. Such religious practice, manifestation, of propagation shall not be disturbed or hindered by either expressly or by the practical application of any law enforced in Nigeria. That's law in parentheses. She now says that the emphasis here is the expression by the practical application of any law. It follows that it can take only another law as opposed to a mere state policy document to upset those clear provisions of the Constitution. She now goes on to say, I find it needed to even wonder aloud that the status of even that law that can be employed in questioning the Constitution, albeit the ground of the country, if not the Constitution itself. So that means even if such law actually exists, even if the legislature sit down to promulgate such law and it comes into force, how can such law even stand when the Constitution itself has said that is the ground norm, that is superior to any law, has said that everybody has a freedom of right, conscious of religion? And she goes on to say, what I'm trying to say here is that the first respondent state policy or rule, for whatever it's its own words on its own, cannot assume the force of law. No, it cannot, as it were to be used as an instrument to counter or to deny the appellants their right to religious practice as guaranteed by the Constitution. Hence, whether the alleged state policy document of the first respondents was produced in court or not is neither here nor there. Such a document cannot fly in the face of the supremacy of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So now that we have this understanding, we will know that even if you want to go and do your driver's license, international passport, you want to register for your NIN, you want to go to school of nursing, radiography, and they are telling you, this is our school. No, there is nothing like this our school. They are everybody, all of us are subsumed under the Constitution. And thus we have to conform to the provisions of the Constitution. So nobody can tell you that you want to register for WAEC. WAEC is under the Constitution. So there is no excuse, whatsoever. And then these court judgments that have interpreted, the provisions of the Constitution has come to let us know that even if such law exists, it does not even matter because it cannot stand the position of the Constitution. So my advice to us generally is that we should know that
yes, kindly help us round off in the next.
Final
all right.
On, within
okay, all right.
Is that we should know that all these law regulations, application of whatever law are all subsumed under the Constitution. It is those people that are there in those offices that are taking law and ascribing power they don't have to themselves by saying that this is their law here. And that for us to know that we can do something. See, even if you have been denied in the past, does not mean you cannot do something in the future. One of our speakers at our last World Hijab Day, a professor said when she was going to do her international passport, her driver's license, they said it was compulsory for her to bring out her ears. And she thought that was the law. She didn't understand. She brought out her ears. When she now traveled out, that she was meant to do another visa, maybe for another conference, when she got there, they said there's no need to bring out her ears. She met some other Muslim sister that said, no, it's not compulsory. She said she went back. Even though her driver's license was not expired, her passport was not expired, she told them, she went, no, the last time you tricked me, you lied to me that I must bring her. I want to do another one that will not bring her my ears. And she did. She did not say, yes, Lord, an important statement. So even sometimes your rights have been denied in the past does not mean that they should continue to deny your rights in the future. And then some of us, we don't know that sometimes you just need to ask. We will be afraid. If I don't bring out my ears, they'll be lying to you. American embassy, they won't give you visa. UK embassy, they won't give you visa. It is not visa of religion that they are sharing. And I can always tell you, like all those embassies, we insist. Even if they go and call their official, they will do it for you. I know many Muslim sisters wearing their jilbab, even wearing niqab, that have gone to the US. I have even gone to the UK myself. That's where I did my master's. And I did not need to bring out my ears in my passport or to take my biometrics. So it's just sometimes you just need to be a little bit assertive to say you know what the law says and what they are saying is wrong. And then to take it forward, to reach out to us at Hijab Advocacy if and when we are able to help. And that sometimes we also should know that you can do something. They are a Nigerian citizen, you can also protect and advocate for the constitution. So we should try as much as possible to be more assertive of our rights while being peaceful. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. We appreciate Barrister Ma. The part of visa to Alujando got me. We also appreciate the aspect of trying to speak on the aspect of the condemnation part. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you abundantly. Stay with us. We still have more questions to ask. So we'll be moving straight to another renowned legal practitioner that we have here with us. We have Barrister ABDULWAASII. He is a legal practitioner. He's a senior member of the Muslim and Lawyers Association, Mulan. So we'll also hear his own point of view from the topic, Hijab between permissibility and condemnation. So we'd love you to help us give us an insight within 10 minutes to the set topic. We have other questions to ask so that we are going to manage our time, inshallah. Bismillah, sir. Yeah, while we are waiting to start his speech, we would love us to use the question and answer box. You can type in your questions on that box. We are going to have them immediately.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله my AMOO, my president, Professor ABIKAN, for a job well done. He has been doing it, may Allah bless him. And my sister, of course, my Aburo, may Allah bless her as well. Well, without saying much, they have said it all. Professor ABIKAN and Barrister OROLU, they have said it all. However, are we together?
Yes, sir, but can you assist us with your video very well, sir? We are unable to see your face, sir.
Are we together?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, good. Yes, from the foregoing analysis, it is evidently established that the Nigerian judiciary has indeed clarified and laid to rest the controversy on whether or not female Muslims can use the hijab, even veil, niqab, burqa in public places, including all our public institutions. So that has been laid to rest. Ali, Professor ABIKAN has taken us through the cases. We've had 3 high court cases. If I should start from the one report case of Fatima Abidemi Razak in Lagos State, the case of Sheikh Salahuddin Ade and Sinoda in Osun State, the case of Awao in Nigeria Industrial Court in Lagos State, the court about 3 cases. So they have all laid to rest the issue of the right of female Muslims to use hijab. So even from the topic by the organizer of this discussion, it shows oppression. I can see permissibility and condemnation. You see, at this time, we should not be talking about permissibility. It is allowed or is ordained by Allah. It's a right ordained by Allah, codified by our laws. So we've had enough on that. So by the way we have coined even the topic, it shows that we are aggressive about the whole situation. We are not convinced that hijab is our right. It's part of fundamental human rights. We should get that clear. And no administrative rules can whittle down that law. It's our right. You can't negotiate it. You cannot contract it out. That is clear. So hijab indeed is a fundamental human right. That is clear to us. But the task of acceptability now lie with the government and the public administrators who have always been at the vanguard of not allowing harmony in the community. Of course, they are the ones that refuse to allow harmony to thrive in the society by wasting our time, our precious time that should be, that should be dedicated to something else. So the acceptability of hijab now lie with the government and the public administrator, who have always been at the forefront of denying us our rights. You understand? They are choosing a environment of a civilian regimentation, faces dictatorship with lazy and unreasonable arguments that the acceptance of hijab will trigger crisis in public places. Even in the face of judicial interpretation, I refuse to be cajoled and to believe that the rights of Nigerian citizens cannot be subjugated. It will become an affront to judicial interpretation and violation of the Constitution itself. In the word of Caribbean White, GSA, of blessed memory, Attorney General of Ondo State and Ekiti State, it was reported in 2001, 17 Nigeria Weekly Report, part 743, 706 and 773. It says, parties cannot contract out their constitutional rights. That's clearly not permissible. And in my opinion, not the subject for argument between the parties. So at this junction, we should not be discussing permissibility, even condemnation. We should rather be discussing how to uphold our right, to defend our rights. We have known, it has been stated, it's clarified without missing word. The next line of action for us is to turn to human rights crusaders. We have to force the government to come to terms with the judicial interpretation, with all decided cases authority. We must collectively safeguard the sanctity of our Constitution. That is our right. All of us, we must turn to a human rights crusader with view of urging our government and agency to come to terms with the constitutional provision and acceptance of judicial pronouncement from time to time. And we should not be tired. So even if institute court action, we are necessary. I will make my own clarion call. They are as follows. One, we should know our rights and defend it. Professor ABIKAN has mentioned one of the proactive steps they took is station brothers in schools. We have judgment to our side. We have not even filed Form 48 and 49. Any teacher or anybody that harass any female student, we treat that person individually. We file for 48 against that person. We condemn that person to prison. We want to convict that person because we've already had a judgment. If you do anything that goes against the judgment of the land, it's an affront to the law. It's content. For that reason, we should by now take some teachers, the head of researchers, to call to file Form 48 and 49 against them. So we need to enforce the court judgment itself. Of course, where necessary, we need to have, just like the way human rights activists used to do, we know how we achieve our aims. How do we do that? You go on the streets. We go on the streets, we protest. It's our right. It's part of our right to protest. Then, of course, we enforce the judgment itself. All of us should be armed with the position of the law. All decided cases should be codified. I mean, we should all have the copy of all decided cases by now. MSSN can do that for us. Put all relevant cases and the circular, everything made in support of hijab, into a paper form that our member can have it. They are armed with the law. This is what the court says. This is what the Court of Appeal says. So by the time they have it, if any teacher wants to harass them, it's just a matter of, this is my right. This is what the law says. And the next thing is that if such teacher misbehave, then we file for 48 and 49 against that teacher. We file it. So that's the part of what we need to do. And we need to do more of stakeholders engagement by now. We should get that right. We should get that right. That is part of our right. Of course, As I've said earlier on, no administrative rules can whittle down that right. So that, with the reason I've said, in the course of time, we can always have a workshop how to strategize on how to implement these laws. We can have a workshop, a workshop with relevant stakeholders so that we might share our points step by step and we give it time frame. If there's any challenge anywhere, not just even in our public schools again, we are talking about public institutions, then we take steps. We can sue them for content from 48 and 49. But my problem is that we are always oppressive, we always want to negotiate our rights. We want to go to roundtable discussion. Oh, we want to have a meeting with the Commissioner for Education. We want to have a meeting with the governor. Why not force the governor to come and have a meeting with us? Force them to have a meeting with us. I mean, I may sound too funny or too radical in my approach. My background, I mean, we were trained by activists. Part of the strategy is that when you want to achieve your aim, you force the government to bow down to your demands. So, with little I've said, I think to me, this time we should not be talking about permissibility of our rights. So, we should not be talking about condemnation. We rather should be talking about to uphold our rights and fight for it, defend it at all times. May Allah be with every one of us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We appreciate our barrister, and from that I could see the tension, and I could see where the barrister is also coming from. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward him abundantly. Right now, we are not expected to be discussing about permissibility and condemnation. We are expected to be discussing about how to defend our laws, how to protect our laws, and the divinity of those laws. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you abundantly. Yes, we would be moving straight to the panel session very well. So we have some highlight questions. I would love to start from our prof in the house. I want to ask a question as regards, I believe our professor is very much with us. Okay, I think he is not here with us. So I would love to hear from Barrister MUTIAT OROLU. Can you give us a highlight on the military sector, on the laws that is governing them as regards hijab? We have cases of them saying that we are not allowed to put on hijab in the school, especially our military schools and those things like that. So we want you to share more light to that, sir.
Yes, on the issue of military schools, the military as well are subsumed under the Constitution. Although I would agree that the military might have, because of the kind of life they live and what they do for the country, they might be subjected to other additional restrictions or conditions as military personnel. But we can take wind about what happens in other places in the world. Even a country like the United States of America, the Muslim women that are part of the even combat soldiers are allowed to wear their hijab. And I know that command, a secondary school by the military command in Lagos. In fact, when the case of hijab was won in court of appeal, command did not even wait for any secular. They did not even wait for anything. They implemented it immediately. And I must give kudos to whosoever the commandants were at that time, because they did not even wait for it. This thing is about, being forward-looking. If we allow these Muslim students to wear the hijab, what is the consequence? And what is the consequence of, a lot of people in Nigeria are afraid of having difficult conversations. Or you want to observe the peace. You want to divide the school into two. You want to do this, you want to call World War III. Now, in the places where they are wearing hijab, as it caused war, as the school be divided, as anything, you understand, you learn. But a lot of us are not willing to learn. That is how our fathers have been doing it since 1914, and that's how we want to continue to do it. We don't want to know why they did it that way. We don't want to know, is it still relevant to our lives today? What does the law say? Maybe they even got it wrong. We don't want to, we just want to be copying and pasting and be living as signals. So I understand that the military might have some extra, how will I say, extra restrictions or laws that apply to military personnel. But then again, especially if they are running institutions of learning, they are all subsumed under the Constitution. In fact, the military are those that we know that are meant to be the defenders of the territorial integrity from internal aggression or external invasion. And the Constitution is the tool they work by. So if they are working by the Constitution, how can they not be the ones to uphold the constitutional provisions? You understand? So we ought not to be having these restrictions. I know, we need to take a step further to research further and to be more engaging, but I don't think there's any excuse because an institution is military or not, and so the hijab should be permissible. It's the same thing that they're using for NYSC. Eventually they've now said they've allowed the hijab, it has to be shoulder length. We are still fighting on the issue of skirts, because even in the past, female corpers used to wear skirts for NYSC. So if you want somebody to be able to climb, jump over the fence, regardless of what the person is wearing, because in real life, when you are serving, you are going to your place of primary assignment, you are not going to be fully kitted every time. And that paramilitary training that they are giving us are meant to be so that you can, apply to any situation. So if I'm going to be wearing my jilbab every time, I'm not going to be fully kitted, and I'm on the ground serving my country and something happens, should I not know how to use my jilbab to jump fence? That's the question. That's the question. So even when sisters have compromised to wear trousers for instance, NYSC camps, they will still insist it has to be short. Why? In real life, is she wearing shorts about? Even the other people that are saying they must wear shorts and they're happily wearing it, are they wearing that kind of shorts about every time? Again, and we want this to be able to be applied to when we are doing something. But we are using tools that are not going to be used in the real life where we expect them to apply those things that they have learned. Are we not shooting ourselves in the foot? So I think the question of Q&A, military school of nursing, military school of nursing and all that, it doesn't really matter. They do because they are still subject to the Nursing and Midwifery Council. And Nursing and Midwifery Council have said that Muslim nurses can wear kaftan and trouser and shoulder length hijab. So what are we talking about?
We appreciate your response to that. Very quickly to Barrister AMOO. From your speech, you were trying to tell us that right now we should be discussing on how we can, on the defense of the law, protection of the law, and we know that right now the case is on at the Supreme Court. So we want to know that over time, have there been early steps at the Supreme Court as regards the law? It's just this silent over time. We would love you to give us response to that, sir.
Well, as far as we're concerned, the law for now is still the Court of Appeal decisions. That's the case of ABIKAN versus Lagos State Government 2016. It was reported in 2016, Nigeria Regular Report. So that's still the law. Supreme Court has not made any pronouncement. We are still awaiting a date at the Supreme Court. For that reason, the law as it is, as of today, is the case, the Court of Appeal decision in Lagos State, ABIKAN against Lagos State Government. That's still the law. And if anybody violates that law, it's Court of Appeal for that matter. It's not High Court decision, We are talking about Court of Appeal. It's a court of superior court. So we can, if anybody violates that law, we can take action against such a person. It becomes a contempt. That's what I'm saying. So by the time we make some individual scapegoats, we fight from 48 and 49 against any individual that violates that law. Because as far as we are concerned, today, Supreme Court has not made any pronouncement. We have about 3 cases at Supreme Court. Prof. ABIKAN has mentioned it. We want to harmonize all the cases so that we have one pronouncement. But the fact still remains that we've not been given date at the Supreme Court, so which means Supreme Court is yet to decide on our application. But as far as we are concerned, the law is still the Court of Appeal decision. On the military issue question earlier raised, I think we need to do more of stakeholders engagement. And of course, to mount prayer, if need be, on the National Assembly. Because we are talking about the law here. We are not talking about one institution or the other. It affects all institutions as far as our right is concerned. So we cannot isolate military or whatever. All institutions be treated as one. So if we can do more of stakeholder engagement, we can get a buy-in from the National Assembly members, to come to terms with the provision of the law. And of course, we call their attention to what is obtainable in other jurisdictions, USA and some other subscript countries, other climes, as they used to say. So that, it has to be a continuous exercise on our part. As human rights activists, you don't just wait until issue happens. You continue to fight. You don't wait. Like I said, what I discover and attitude is that we wait till as a problem, we start fighting. You understand? We have a judgment. I can tell you, they will all tell you that they are not aware that there is a Court of Appeal decision, this and that. What effort have we made to popularize these decisions, to let the people be aware, to create awareness on it? So we still have much to do. And as I said, we need to engage more of our stakeholders, including the Hijab right advocacy and some others that are fighting the same cause. And if need be, we need to have a workshop on how to strategize. That will not be a public discussion here. We should find a way of getting the government to buy in to our demand. We are not saying they should give us something that is out of the place. We are talking about law here. So, and we should let them obey the law. That is just that.
Okay. We appreciate that swift response. We want to appreciate our participants for their patience. We have your questions on our chat, on our question box. We would love you to stay patiently and enjoy the segment. You can still try as much as possible to invite others, make noise on your status, give nudges and all things that you feel would make people have enough interest to this event. Moving straight, we have Professor ABIKAN here with us. Yes, we are discussing on the permissibility and the condemnation, and we have different cases in Lagos here. So we would love to hear from Professor ABIKAN. What are some ethical ways that we can use to solve some issues, maybe in a secondary school or in our institution, and someone tried to victimize us and deny our rights? Should we just start breaking bottles or start shouting and things like that? What are some ethical ways that we can use to solve those issues as a Muslim? So, Professor ABIKAN, sir, we would love you to give response to that, sir.
Professor ABIKAN, your mic is muted, sir. Kindly unmute, please.
Okay, sorry. So thank you. So I was trying to say that each state has to devise a method of engaging the state government, because they are a critical factor in ensuring that everybody's right is everybody in the state live freely and without being molested. So we have now had occasions now that is prevalent that some people
are hell-bent on denying others their right. So I think there is need for critical engagement with the state government through the Ministry of Education, for instance. Like what we did here, the Muslim stakeholder here did not just sit back. You have eminent personalities that wherever they go to, those people know that these are people that must be listened to. But all the topmost scholars we have around here are members of Muslim stakeholders. You have retired permanent secretaries in the state government that any office they enter, they know that, look, these are our father, even in civil service. So you cannot tell them stories. They know much more than you think you can know, those who are already serving in those offices. So you bring all these people together. It's important. If the MSSN can facilitate it, it's a good thing that the elders on their own think about this and identify people to bring together to do this work for us. But if the elders are not coming, I think the MSSN can facilitate. So what we do, we get these people together, and whenever we have, without even waiting for age, like in Kwase, what we are doing now, on our own, we invited the not Algon, this association of principals of secondary schools, because we realized that the public schools are not doing very fine, and we are trying to show concern about it. What is the problem? So we engage all the stakeholders in the education sector, including the association of principals of secondary schools, including the labor union of Kwara State. We invite them to meeting. These are people that when they invite you, you can't rubbish them. They are elder statesmen that everybody wants to listen to. So in Lagos State, for instance, the Lagosians, the real Lagosians who are conscious Muslims, facilitate their coming together, let them see it, and they pick in one after the other. Like in this case now, they pay a courtesy visit to the Commissioner of Education, whether or not he's a Muslim. And by the time you look at the class of people that are sitting, even the commissioner will know that, look, these are our fathers, that they will refer to, these are our father, elder statement in the society. So when such people go with issues, and they're not begging for anything, they're not begging, they're just saying, please do the right thing, protect our children. That's why you are here as government. And they know that when those people are talking, even back in the community, they can decide a lot of things on the seat those people are sitting on. These are the people, if they don't behave well, they can determine whether they are coming back to that seat. So they will take it serious. So it only takes Ministry of Ministry of Education, for instance, to issue circular with a warning to whoever
Professor ABIKAN, are you still there, sir? Okay. While we wait for Professor ABIKAN to be back, I guess it's the network issue. I want to. Okay. Kindly go on, sir. We weren't hearing you from this from the other hand. Just go on, sir. I think the network is fluctuating.
Hello. Hello.
Prof, we can hear you now, sir. We can hear you now, sir. You were off before. We weren't hearing you.
So I was just saying that that's the first stage. So if such circular is being passed, you get a copy of it. Because in our own case, we ensure that the circular was passed to all schools in Kwara State. And we got a copy. We now recirculate it. Like my brother was just saying that you let people know about all this. You go on radio. having got such circular, you recirculate it, put it on social media, the religious organization circulate it, so that in the very hidden corner of Lagos State, every conscious Muslim has a copy of that circular. And let someone now misbehave in Ekpe or any Badagry, they have some people to call, give them numbers that in case anybody's right is violated against this particular circular, call these numbers. Some people will call to say, please, we need that circular. Can we get a copy? Because we want to meet the community in our own area, want to go and meet the school. Okay, and they needed it. So it was, of course, the school have been given a copy, but some school may pretend as if they don't have it. So let it be circulated among the members of the public, and they are armed by it. So they confront any school that, please, have you seen this circular? We think the right of the church should be protected. So we take it from that. And whenever we have any errant, maybe teacher or whatever, they will be isolated. Another level is if we still have people misbehaving or government having passed the circular and not sanctioning anybody, we also have right to institution to take legal action against individual, either civil or criminal. So if a teacher molested a student, for instance, the MSSN can interact with the parents and we institute legal action, criminal action. So that person is isolated because the state government will not come to protect such a person, that we are the one that sent him or her to misbehave, having passed a circular that they must respect their right. So I think that's going to be the last. Institute legal action against them, both civil. So I think if we go this way, more enlightenment, people will be more aware and be more conscious. By the time we take a scapegoat of one or two people, others will be adjusting. If they don't want to do it willingly, they will do it by force of law. Thank you. Okay, Jazakallah Khairan, Prof. I have a question here for Barrister AMOO, but I immediately after that I want Barrister AMOO to be quick to respond to that. Then after that I will go to Barrister OROLU. And the question is, we are talking about continuous advocacy, sensitizing our members for them to be fully aware of what their right is as regards to the hijab. But I want to look at it from this angle. Have we, Barrister AMOO now, have we passed the level of, because this case is in court, we have different court cases as rightly stated by our panelists. Does it mean that the issue of discussion, having a discussion with the government, having like maybe a dialogue, so to say, with the government, have we passed that stage? Or knowing fully well that these cases are in court, have we passed this? Can any government come and say, let's say, for example, we have another governor in Lagos State after Governor OROLU, and he or she is saying that, okay, this case, I want MSSN, all these Muslim association organizations, I want you guys to come for deliberation. What exactly do you want? Have we passed the level of dialogue? I want Barrister AMOO to respond to that because the case is in court. So that we also know what we want. I'm asking this so that we also know what we can also push for. 2023 is almost at the corner. Government will come, politicians will come to us, they will come and meet us, they will come and solicit for our votes. What should we as a body, these are, if it is possible for us to see dialogue away from the court, these are things we can also, I feel that we can also push forward to them and say, okay, these are some of the things that we want. If you want to get our vote, we also want this from you. So I don't know, have we passed the level of that, Barrister AMOO, please? Do we still have Barrister AMOO with us? Technical team?
It's not online. I think it went up.
Okay. I think Prof should take that because I have a specific question for Barrister OROLU. I think Prof should take that, sir.
Yes, there is no time. There is no time that dialogue will not be needed. If you look at what I've just mentioned, it's a process of dialogue too. even when you have got a judgment, you need a government to implement it. And I told you our experience in Kwara State that the government was not trying to implement, okay? Because particularly in government school, the government owns the school. You cannot just go to the MSSN, want to implement judgment of the court. No, it has to still to go through the government. So there is no point where dialogue will be out of the way. But we cannot be dialogued out of our right, okay? We already have a right. We're only asking the government to implement the judgment you have gotten as of right. So if government wants anything from us, they should be the one to say, oh, how do you think we can do it? And we have given examples. They are all, they know how it's done in civil service. The strength of a circular passed to a subordinate, they must comply, okay? But I don't think the state government will want us to dialogue to say we should petition the judgment or things like that, okay? So whatever dialogue we want to have is to sit down to see how easy would it be for government to implement it. And of course, we have to put on our own thinking cap to say that, okay, which area can we have a easy ride in implementation? Which area do we think we can have issues? For instance, when we are talking about private schools, that judgment cut across everywhere, whether public or private school. The way it will be implemented in private school may be different from the way it will be implemented in public schools. The force of law to be employed in public school will be different in private because they are not paying the salary of the teachers in private schools. So these are areas that will be accommodative of dialogue, sitting down on how to go about it. But talking about dialoguing out the judgment, I don't think that will be possible. We cannot go back and say we drop our right. Like Sister OROLU said, it's our inalienable right. Anybody removing, like I gave an example of removing skin from an animal, a live animal, you are killing it. That's the way hijab is to Muslims. So nobody can, even a Muslim sister does not have that capacity to drop it. That, okay, I now drop my right. Only he's doing that at the peril of maybe of his faith, of our faith, that probably I don't want to remain a good Muslim again, and which nobody wants to do that. So the issue of dialogue will always be available. We'll continue to dialogue, but whenever we are going for that, let's identify high-powered people that matter amongst us. Now, when they speak, they know that they have authority and they can also influence what happened to them in that position they are sitting on. So dialogue will always be available, and it's a way to go. Thank you.
No, Jazakallah Khair, I really appreciate that response. Now, Barrister OROLU, I'm asking you this question. I want to ask you this question because you have been part of the Lagos State government versus, or MSSNLagos rather, versus Lagos State government. You know, you and I have met in court severally, you know, and I've seen the way you have actually been involved in the case. Now, there's a judgment that has been given. Yes, the case is at the Supreme Court level, but there's a judgment that has been given by the Court of Appeal, you know, on the case of MSSNLagos versus Lagos State government. Now, what is the implication?
Hello, I didn't get the rest of the question, please. What's the implication of?
Ma? Of the court of what is the implication of the Court of Appeal judgment in the case of?
Sorry, I didn't get the full
government,
question.
as well as on. What is the implication of the appeal court judgment in the case of MSSNLagos versus Lagos State government, as well as on international law as it relates to hijab?
I think it. As of today, 28th of December 2022, the law is that hijab is allowed, and that when you are interpreting freedom of source, conscience, and religion, which is a constitutional provision and an inalienable human rights, hijab is part of it. So that is the law as of today. And anybody flouting that law can actually be cited for contempt. But this is where we usually have the problem. I always tell people that the individual victim is more powerful than all of us that we are lawyers, human rights advocates, hijab rights advocates. So you're actually more powerful than us and can do things because you are the one directly affected. Even though I started this advocacy in conjunction with others due to my own personal experience and our collective experience, but I can tell you that as of right now, alhamdulillah, personally, I have not really faced any personal, how will I say, so far, since maybe I've started this advocacy, I've personally not faced any direct form of discrimination due to my hijab. But I know hundreds and thousands of others in this country are not as lucky. But again, when things now happen, we find out that people that are victims, by the time they come and say, sorry, this, they do not, the reason why we are still here discussing this is because a lot of victims in the past have thrown away their rights. They have not followed this thing to a logical conclusion. We find out that when victims stand on their own 2 feet, we are able to get some logical conclusions of this. Look at the case of Awao Olatunji Sulaiman that we took to the National Industrial Court. It's because the victim stood our ground, with the help of our husband, with the encouragement of our husband, anyway, because she was also, I think, at the point ready to just, let it go and all that. That was why we were able to get that judgment. We were in court for almost 2 years, but alhamdulillah, we got the judgment. And if you go on the website of National Industrial Court today, it's part of the judgment that has been highlighted to uphold the human rights of employees. You understand? That is because she stood up. So now, the problem we have is that it's not that this discrimination is not taking place, but there are sometimes you want to go further to cite the person for contempt, and then the person will come and the principal called me, and the chairman of Bancops called me, and they begged me. They say, there will be no problem again, blah, 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 and it is dropped. There are many times that we have even done court processes. For us to file, the victim will call and say they're not doing case again. I cannot become a busybody, as our father has explained. Although, because we are an NGO, we can say we are interested parties or for the benefit of society. There are other ways to maybe we can push it further. But if you're a victim of, if you're a victim of such a crime, and they are willing to say, okay, want to pay me, or they've apologized to me, I'm not taking this very further. There's very little that we can do. So my advice is, when you have been discriminated against, and this has always been the situation, I believe that if you have been able to conclude one case to a logical conclusion, I am almost certain, that somebody else will not do the same thing. But because they will come and they will beg, and we will accept, and they would, play on our intelligence and say, after all, they are saying Islam is a religion of peace, and it should be peaceful. But if you prosecute this person, you're not being peaceful. You should forgive. Allah is Ghafur Rahim. This. People will accept, and then they will do it for another child. Tomorrow is Bishomolu. Next tomorrow, they would. In some schools, they allow hijab. And then the principal will say, it is from WAEC that does not allow hijab. Meanwhile, we have at Hijab Advocacy, we have written WAEC personally, and they have come to respond. They even added, although we already got that from National Library, a copy of their publication in the newspaper to say they permit hijab for registration and exams. So this principal will come out, like what happened in Nevada Dilaja. Those girls were already wearing their hijab. On the day of exam, the first paper, which was mathematics, the principal rounded up all the girls that were wearing hijab and said, the WAEC said they're not going to allow them to wear hijab for their exams. And these girls registered with their hijabs on. So imagine your first paper in WAEC, which is mathematics, early in the morning before now, your principal rounded up, asks you to remove your hijab. I don't know what else you want to solve in that exam. So I don't know the results of those girls. I've not followed up, but I can always assure you, a girl that was meant to get maybe 80 or 100 will get to 60 because you are not in the right frame of mind if you are wearing hijab. You understand, when you're wearing hijab and somebody tells you to remove it just before you enter the exam hall. I know myself, and I know many others have said so, you will not be able to comport yourself to even, put yourself in the right frame of mind to be able to write your exams. Now, this particular principal, of course, the matter was taken up, and she's sorry, she was not punished to my own, to what I know of. And so another principal elsewhere can have the guts and effrontery to do something. You understand? So because we have not been able to follow a lot to a logical conclusion, the people that are usually victims are, how will I say, would have agreed to leave the matter out and not proceed with it, and so we are here. So when I'm even talking about international law, even in international courts, it has been recognized that the hijab of course, there will always be people that have other interests that will come back and give some rulings and say, like, for instance, an employer has a right. I know we might have heard of the judgment to say an employer would have a right to determine what he wants his employees to look like, so therefore he can say somebody to not wear hijab. But again, it will be going back and forth because, like we have said, human rights are inalienable rights. You cannot separate it from the person. So even if you have gotten a judgment, I'm sure another case will come up, and that judgment that they have done before, they will not do it. They will throw it away and they will bring back that. Because if you read the court judgment of Lagos State at the High Court, Justice Modupe Onyabo, she was of the opinion, she used a case called Leila Shehin versus Government of Turkey, where Turkey, due to a secular constitution then, said people going to higher institution could not wear hijab. And they went to the International Court of Justice, and the court also held that Leila Shehin, that the country was right to deny her to wear hijab. Now, our constitution in Nigeria and the constitution in Turkey are not temporary material. It's not the same. As at that time, they removed religion from their own way of life. In Nigeria, we are multi-religious. We are not stricto sensu a secular society. And even if you want to talk about secularism, what is the principle of modern secularism? Is that you don't bring one religion above another. It is not that human beings within that community do not have a right to religion. There is a difference. So even those international decisions that Leila Shehin, even that was used in the Lagos High Court, that particular decision now has even been overturned, even before it went on appeal. So the judge in the High Court was trying to say that it will not apply to Lagos State secondary schools because they are minors. She's using the case of an international case that applies to even somebody that is an higher institution to justify our own position. So of course, when he went to court of appeal, I think even if you're a layman, that decision is just only 65 pages long. I know it might seem long, but for us to be able to understand that judgment, very, very beautiful. The Court of Appeal tore that High Court judgment into shreds. That's the only way I can describe it. Because if you are saying that because these children are minors, they are children and they cannot wear hijab, we have local cases that we used to back up our plea that apply to higher institutions, and I say we are differentiating that those ones cannot apply because they are all cases in higher institution, like the case of Basira Saliu and the case of Fatima Abdulrazak. That those ones are higher institutions, so you cannot apply to secondary school and primary schools. Yet you are using an international decision that is even from a jurisdiction that our constitutions are not inherently similar. And it is even now that of an higher institution again, using it to justify your position that those in secondary school in Lagos State cannot wear hijab. Of course, when it went on appeal, because of appeal, like I said earlier, tore that judgment into shreds and then analyzed all those points one after the other. So I will encourage us, if you need it, just reach out to me or through MSS. I can send it to our mail. I believe he has a certified true copy. It's just 65 pages. At your leisure, read that judgment and you will understand a lot of the dynamics and the things that we are trying to explain to give you a better in-depth understanding and knowledge of what we are trying to explain. So I think the issue of the hijab, whether local, whether international, even if people are putting politics here and there, it is almost a non-brainer. When you say people have rights to their religion and you say Muslim women cannot wear hijab, it's just double standard. It's just double standard. It doesn't really make any sense. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan for that beautiful response. I want to sincerely thank Professor ABIKAN and Professor Barrister MUTIAT, as well as time the knowledge expanding some of us are actually.
The audio is off, sir. Your audio is off. Upgrade it.
Are you talking to me, sir?
Yes, it's better now. Yes, I was talking to you, sir. It's better now.
This has to be the network. My mic is actually on. Okay, so I was thanking Professor three legal experts, Professor Abiko, Barrister Olu, and Barrister AMOO for the beautiful education that's giving us now. What we been able to kind of be able to. I have learned a whole lot, but I was also saying that some of us are being kind of seem to be losing that, seem to be losing that spirit of the defense of the job. Yes, it's our right. Just like Pastor Olu said, it's not a privilege, it's a right. You know, sometimes when I hear or see these cases, I'm not blaming Allah, but I always feel like, why am I not? Maybe because I'm a journalist. Maybe that's what actually brings that to my mind. Why am I not? I wish, you know, I was.
You need to work on the audio, sir. So sorry to distract you. You need to work on the audios.
Oh, okay. Maybe
it's
I
better
might have
now.
to hand
Yes,
over.
it sounds very good now.
Very good now. Okay, so I just want to thank. Then I also want to the issue of media advocacy and media presence. I think we need to really work more on it. You know, the Lagos State Area Unit of MSSN need to really work more on because where the world is going now is PR. Everybody is doing PR for whatever little or nothing, or whatever little or nothing that they are doing. We have NGOs that are not even have a cause to fight for, and they are spending millions and billions on PR. The need for us to be presence in the media, especially for this hijab advocacy, is very, very, very is highly needed. We seem to be going low on media. I'm challenging the MSSNLagos State Area Unit. Now I know the Amir is I'm going to hand over my microphone to the unit Amir now to address us, after which we'll be having the CAUT session that will be anchored by Madam Kamaldeen Abiona. But I'm trying, maybe Amir can also address these issues I'm raising, the issue of media. Yes, hijab right advocacy, but if our presence is not felt in the media, if our presence is not felt, worldwide, social media, mainstream media, there's huge need for us, to be aggressive in it. The World Hijab Day is going to be in the next 35 days now. Do we have any plan for it? It shouldn't be 3 or 4 days to that event that we'll now start saying, okay, we want to this person, this is our program. I know we usually have it in our calendar, but the World Hijab Day is coming. It should not also be the only avenue for us to talk about the issue of hijab rights. I know Barrister OROLU does a lot with other NGOs, MSS does a lot with other NGOs, but we should probably start doing something like a quarter now. Or I'm sorry, I'm not a lecturer, but I'm just trying to, whip up the emotions again. I'm perturbed with the issue, with the way our sisters are being harassed. These are our future. These younger sisters, especially, they are future. Those in school, those are the ones that who will live and will leave behind. So there's need for us to do more, strengthen them mentally, emotionally, psychologically. We need to strengthen them so that it won't be a case of just like our lawyers have said, to get to a case and a victim will say, "Ma worry, we don't want to do this thing again." No, it shouldn't be so. Yes, there's little we can do if a victim or somebody in question says he or she is no longer interested in the case. But I want to believe it's an act of conviction, at the level of conviction and probably understanding and education. So MSS needs to do a lot with other Muslim organizations. So I want to thank Barrister. Times have been fast spent. I don't know if the organizers will permit us to give comments to two before we allow. Before we end the panel and lecture session, we'll allow three of our delegates, to comment on what's on the lecture if they have comment, but it shouldn't be repetition of what has been said. Just 2 minutes for each. If anybody is interested, you can just indicate on the message on the chat platform. Indicate. We just give numbers to three persons to give or to just make comments or contributions on the issue of the lecture before we hand over the microphone to, or I hand over the microphone to the Amir, while we expect people to indicate in the chat. So the first 3 persons will be giving numbers to make comments and contributions. So at this junction, I hand over the microphone. Once again, I say a very big thank you to The three barristers are in the house, our fathers, their mothers, their sister. We appreciate them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them abundantly. I have learned so much today, and I'm very, very glad, I'm part of the day 1, phase 2 of MSSN. Okay, ITEL A56 Pro. I don't know your name, but can you just add your name to your indication so that I can give you your number? I can mention your name. So, Amir, I hand over the microphone to you, sir. I welcome to our midst the #1 citizen of the Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State area unit, in person of Malam Miftauddin Thani. Alhamdulillah, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. Can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear, my Amir, sir. Very loud and clear.
First
and visible, foremost, sir. We can see you as well, sir.
We give thanks to Allah for this speech. It is Allah that has made it a reality. We thank our guests. Let me start from our professor, who was given a very short notice to this program. That is the person of Professor Ibrahim ABDULQODIR ABIKAN. We thank our Father, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His infinite mercy, will reward you abundantly. You have always been standing for Islam. You fight in the cause of Allah. And the reward of those that fight in the cause of Allah is both in this life and the hereafter. Allah will increase you in all ramifications. Inshallah, all your wants, your prayers from Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer them more than you have asked from Allah. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, sir. Secondly, I want to thank Barrister OROLU for making today a colorful one. I appreciate you, ma. Jazakumullahu khairan. The woman who fights in the cause of Islam as if she is a man. That is Barrister OROLU. We appreciate you. Allah will continue to strengthen you the more. Thirdly, my own mentor, Barrister ABDULWAASII AMOO, is known for this kind of cause. He has proved it today. May Allah continue to strengthen him. Jazakumullahu khairan. Let me quickly give my speech. Inshallah, this is the speech delivered by the Amir MSSNLagos area unit, Miftauddin Thani, at the virtual formal opening of the 111th December Islamic Vacation Course today, 28th of December, 2021. All praise is due to Allah, the omnipotent, the omniscient. He is the beginning and the end, the first and the last. It is He whose majestic dominion covers the heavens and the earth. What is in between and beyond, particularly those we do not know about? I seek His divine blessings on the leader of human race, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the leader of human race in this world and hereafter. That is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household, companions, and the Ummah in totality. I welcome you all to this eventful occasion, the opening ceremony of the virtual 111th December IVC. This second phase of the IVC was made virtual to allow everyone stay safe due to the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic and in a bid to obey government's regulations. I am indeed grateful to Allah for this digital dimension of Islamic propagation and digitalization of Dawah. With this in mind, we have carefully selected the theme of this 111th IVC, the real world order. It is very instructive to note that the real world order is Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed Islam, the religion of yesterday, the religion of today, and the religion that is in tandem with the future. I'm indeed grateful that today is the day we are opening the program. Indeed, Islam is the real world order. Allah stated in Quran 3 verse 19, Inna Dina Inda Allahi Islam. In Quran 3 verse 85, Allah says, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَا يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. That the only recognized way of life, world order, and the ideology in the sight of Allah is Islam. That whosoever brings any other ideology or religion, it will not be accepted from that person, and his work will be rejected, and he will be doomed in the day of accountability. May we not be doomed. Islam is the only religion that conforms with human nature, the religion of monotheism, justice, fairness, and kindness. Allah says, Ahsin, kama ahsan Allah ilayk. Be kind, be just. Allah says we should be kind, just the way Allah is kind to you. Allah wants us to be kind to all, not only the Muslims, but humanity as a whole. This reflects the universality of Islam and the idea of globalism, or what we can call globalization, that has been entrenched in Islamic monotheism before the introduction by the so-called Western world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that we should be good, fair, kind to all mankind. Islam is the only belief system and ideology accepted by Allah. Its primacy is kindness to all humanity. And by extension, this kindness engenders peaceful persistence and unity in humanity. Undoubtedly, Islam has a perfect social system based on fairness and common good, a political system based on justice and equality, an economic system based on zakat, sadaqat, and mutual economic development. It is very important to mention at this juncture that Islam promotes equality. Hijab is our right. Section 1, subsection 3, as quoted by Barrister OROLU, that any law that is inconsistent with our law, that is the Nigerian Constitution, is null and void to the extent of its inconsistency. Apart from the fact that Islam establishes the use of hijab as our right, as a compulsory act of worship. Our Constitution, in so many sections cited by the earlier speakers, also establishes that we have the right of freedom of association, by extension, freedom of belief, and any belief system in such association that is in tandem with the provision of the Constitution and does not in any way limit the right of anybody or contravenes its provision is allowed. So we want to implore all those people that are condemning Islam, trying to harass our sisters, that is a legal issue. We shall make sure we sue anybody that is contravening the law, that want to break the law and order, and make sure that the law is taking its true course. In conclusion, Islam is divine religion from the source of peace, for those who embrace peace as way of life. We use this medium to invite humanity to this sure path of success, felicity, and rewarding eternity. I will not end this speech without appreciating our national Amir, Malam Sheikh Usman Abubakar, and other national executives who visited us in Lagos in our secretariat in Yaba, 165, 164, about Macaulay Way, against all odds. I also appreciate all our indefatigable members, Umara of area councils, higher institutions, central branches, secondary school, and all other organs who are making this program a visible one, and the one that is so glorious the way we are having it. Our amiable speakers, our father, Barrister Professor ABIKAN, our mother, Barrister MUTIAT OROLU, our father again, Barrister ABDULWAASII AMOO. I also appreciate all of them all. May Allah appreciate you. All to you all, I say, Jazakumullahu khairan kaseera. Hijab is our right. We must use it without any fear, let's go back to our home in Lagos. We met the Commissioner of Education. She told us that nobody is limiting the use of hijab. Those that are limiting it are doing it at their own peril. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا كثيرا.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan, Amir, for the well-delivered speech and the welcome address to the 111th edition of the Islamic Vacation Course put together by the Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit. I'm able to, before the Amir took over from where I stopped, about 5 or 6 persons indicated to want to make comments, except from Aisha Ogidan Adebayo, who said she has a question. So I'll be giving out the numbers as follows. Bra Mutiu Ogundepo as a number 1 for your comments. Sorry, you only have 2 minutes each, please, because you also need to round off as fast as possible. Bra Abdulhakim Wusuma Onyon as number 2. Bra Buyamin Ajayi as number 3. Sister Salamat Abubakar as number 4. Then number 5 for question precisely is Ajia Aisha Ogidan Balogun. I also have a comment here, but fortunately, I think the Amir answered the question. A question from Sister Amina Adisa Ajimo. She commended Barrister OROLU for her presentation, as well as Professor ABIKAN, Barrister AMOO. But she also wants to know that where and how she can have access to publications and evidences on the use of hijab in Lagos State. But I think Amir answered that towards the end of his welcome address by saying that we could do that on if you go to, he gave the address of the Muslim Society of Nigeria, Lagos State Area Unit. But aside from that, Barrister OROLU, maybe when you have the mic in one of the questions Aisha Ogidan Adebayo has, maybe you may also give us more information as regards to how and where our delegates and people can actually get access, have access to publications and evidences on the issue. I want to understand that she meant hard copies, maybe of these cases or these judgments, really the Court of Appeal judgments. So I'll be going to Bara Muti Ogundipe now. You have just 2 minutes for your comments, and I'll be the time by myself. Once it's 2 minutes, I'll put off your mic, sir. So please, Bara Muti Ogundipe, please, after which Mr. Wusu Abdulhakim Maonyon will take over. Bismillah. Bara Muti Ogundipe, please. We don't have much time, please. Unmute your mic, rather. Unmute your mic and let's have your comments, please. Technical team, please kindly assist with the microphone of ITEL. His ID number is ITEL A24 or thereabouts. I know he indicated that he wants to make comments first, so.
I only have ITEL A56 years.
Okay, yes, I think it's the one. I'm trying to. Please, kindly. Yes, ITEL A56 Pro is the one. Please kindly unmute him and allow him make his comments.
He should unmute himself.
Okay, Madam Mutiu Ogundepo, please unmute yourself and let's have your comments.
I have been trying this from there. I look okay now. Hello,
all right, we can hear you loud and clear now. Loud and clear. Just move on, please. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Wa alaikum salam. Your area council, please. Which area are you attending the camp from?
From IBA area council.
IBA area council. Jazakumullah khairan. Please go ahead, sir.
I give a very big kudos to the speakers, the three speakers. They have done very well, and they have actually enlightened us very much about the exact issue. But my concern is this. From the saying of Barrister MUTIAT, that there is this always issue of coming up to come and beg that, okay, it will not happen again, it will not happen again, this and that, that Islam is a religion of peace and this and harmony that we should try to forget and the like. I am having another position, because see, if we continue to always accept in the name of tolerance and acceptance, this issue will always come up again and again and again. Please let us have a scapegoat. Because see, I am a bit closer to education, Ministry of Education, and we hear so many things that happen even internally. And when you tell the parents or even some teachers that, see, okay, let's take it off, you know, and the evil will just go and nothing will happen. But if at the top they have seen that if you do this, which has been recognized by the Lagos State government, there is a punishment attached to it, and some punishment has been mailed already, then the people will speak up. Please and please, I will employ us, especially the Hijab advocates and the like, and immediately we have a judgment on punishment, please broadcast it. The Muslim News has been doing that for a very long time, and I think other media arms to also help in broadcasting the outcome of every court case.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. Abra, we see Abdulhakim Mount, please. You want to go to the point. Your area can see. 2 minutes. Unmute yourself, please. Abra, we see Abdulhakim Mount. Unmute yourself, please. 2 minutes. That's it. Okay, our technical team, but I will see saying he can't unmute himself. Please allow him to unmute himself so that we can quickly wrap up. While doing that, I want to inform us that we should not leave the platform yet. Like I said, we have a quiz segment which has.
You need to improve the audio, sir. You need to improve the audio.
Okay, my audio is
Now, assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam. Just a minute, please, Madam Wusu. I was trying to inform our audience that we should not leave the platform yet, because I can see that the numbers are dropping. Unfortunately, if you leave now, you may be part of the early. If you are one of the early arrivals to camp today, and your name has been identified, or your identity has been identified to be awarded a prize. If you are not available, we will be forced to give it to the next person. So just hold on while we wrap up the segments. So, Madam Wusu, please, your comments, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What I want to say, my name is ABDULWAASII Wusu. I'm the General Secretary of Ejigboria Council. So my comments on this issue is just to encourage all of us to please stick to the advice we've gotten and always put at the back of our mind the fact that death can come at any time. If you always remember the fact that we can die at any time, then we should always be ready to uphold our rights. Don't fear any intimidation. At least there was a case that happened so many years ago. Alhamdulillah, the AMOO barrister AMOO was even the lead counsel in that case. That's the case of MSSNLagos students and Lagos State government. Today, we are able to set a precedence, all because our sisters stood their ground. So let us see how best we can build ourselves to be strong. And in schools, we should be among the forefront students. When we are academically sound and we are morally upright, people will be forced to listen to us in whatever we want to do. Someone you come to record.
Walaikum salam Jazakumullah khairan for that beautiful encouragement. Malam Buyamin Ajayi, you said you're going to make your comments via the text. Let's have it, please. Then we'll move to Sister Salamat Abubakar. Please, Sister Salamat Abubakar, kindly unmute. Technical crew, kindly help us allow her to grant her the permission to unmute herself. Sister Aja Salamat Abubakar, your comments, please. Aja Salamat Abubakar, your comments, please. We are pressed for time, seriously. Okay, so I'll move to Aja Aisha Ogidon Adebayo. please, technical team, kindly help us grant them permission to unmute. Aisha Ogidon Adebayo, she has a question. And I think that's the last person before we go to the Kahoot session, which will be handled by my able brother and friend, Malam Kamaldeen Abiono. I hope we have been jotting. Yes, those are their names. Salamatu, the other one I mentioned earlier, Salamatu Abubakar Ajimo. Salamatu Abubakar Ajimo. Grant her the permission if she's still online. She indicated that she has a comment to make. Also,
I'm not sure Sister Salamat is still here.
Okay, so Aisha Ogidon Adebayo. Madam Buyamin said he's still waiting to be granted permission to speak, please. I thought he wanted to make his comments via text. Okay, so please grant Madam Binyamin Ajayi. Binyamin Ajayi, that's the name. Binyamin Ajayi. Please kindly grant him access to permission to speak.
I can only see Binyamin here. Is it the same person?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hello?
Okay, you are on, sir. Please kindly go ahead, sir. 2 minutes, sir, please. Your name and
hello,
sorry,
hello.
you have your name already. We can hear you loud and clear, Madam Binyamin. Your area council and just
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Your area council and please go ahead, please.
Can you hear me, please?
Loud and clear. Can you hear us as well? Can you hear me, brother?
Am I being audible?
We can hear you loud and clear, Madam
Okay,
Binyamin.
okay.
We can hear you loud and clear. What area council are you commenting from? We seem to be having issues with Madam Binyamin's audio. Oh, Madam Abibullah is it? Okay, so please quickly make your comment. Don't make any other thing again. Don't respond. Just go on with your comments, please. 2 minutes.
I think we should have a committee to engage the Lagos State government as a matter of policy. There should be a circular to this issue of hijab, so that at least status quo, there should be, because you know in Lagos we keep having different issues, but if there is a circular, we have to insist. Let the headship of the Ministry of Education engage us officially. This is the status. Let there be a circular to that. I know what I'm saying because I've been a victim. My daughter has been a victim. Yeah, so we need a circular to that. So let there be that from this IBC. This is what we agreed to. Let the Lagos area go ahead to do that for us, please. Thank you for the opportunity.
Jazakumullah khairan. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's have okay, you said Sister Salamat Abubakar is no longer online. Aisha Ogidon Adebayo, please kindly grant her the permission to speak so that she can ask her question.
I can't see her.
Oh.
Probably she's using another name for her phone.
Ogidon. Yeah, it is Aisha Ogidon Adebayo. That's what I'm saying here. Aisha Ogidon Adebayo.
She's not here.
Okay, all right. In the absence of that, then I hope Malam Kamaldeen Abiono is ready for the quiz segment, so that we can, after that, we'll wrap or present our gifts to people. Then we'll wrap up from there. Malam Kamaldeen Abiono. Okay, I hope if the Amir can also hear me, we are having a whole lot of requests from our delegates here for the copy of the appeal court's judgment in favor of MSSNLagos State. Madam Kamunda, please kindly be preparing, sir, while I submit. Yeah, just hold on, please. So I hope the Amir can hear me as well as the secretariat and the organizers of the IVC. The delegates are requesting for a copy of the Court of Appeal judgment in favor of MSSNLagos State against the Lagos State government. So I'm thinking we can put this on the website of because it's a public document. If I'm right, anyway. So I stand to be corrected by the legal personnel. If you can put it, so that they can have access to that. Then maybe in our afternoon session we'll send the access link for them to have it. So I hand over the microphone to Madam Kamaldeen Biono. Bismillah, sir.
Now, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. For those of us who are presently available online, who are still on camp, I hope you have your notes pad with you, because we're going to be asking very interesting questions for you to win laudable prizes. Now, Bismillah, sir. Sorry for cutting in again.
Okay. Now, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So I think I'm sharing my screen now. So for us to be able to participate in the COUT section, we can log in. I think the information is on the screen now. So you can join at www.cout.it. Join at www.cout.it. So then the game pin is there. The game pin is 556.
Madam Kamaldeen, sir, it's still loading, and I can see that people are saying that the screen is not uploaded yet. Maybe we'll allow it to.
Okay, let me reshare then. Let me reshare.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, I hope you can see now. Yeah.
Yes, sir, we can see now.
Yes. Okay.
So could you take us through how we can participate again, sir?
Yes. I will. The information, I will do that. So once again, just go to www.cout.it. Sorry, those who that are joining, just wait for the instruction. The instruction is don't join with your name as the nickname. We want your phone number as the nickname. Your phone number as the nickname, please. Phone number as the nickname. So we don't want Simbiat, we don't want Mukhtar Rafia. So your nickname, your nickname must be your phone number. Your phone number, I think definitely that one is unique. Yes, your phone number. Thank you. So for those that have not got it right, go to www.cout.it. The game pin is on the screen, 556-9218. So it will ask of your nickname. The nickname is your phone number. Okay, I think we have 11 players now. Yes. Please, Aji, please follow the instruction. Your name, your nickname is your phone number. Your phone number is your nickname. Phone number is the nickname. So in the next few minutes, we are going to start. We have 25 on board now, 30 on board. Okay. Yeah. Can we wait till we get 50? Possibly, if you're able to get 50 in the next 1 minute, we should start. Okay, so let's be prepared to start. The questions, you have the questions, and if you know about Kahoot, you have to juggle between the screen, my screen here, and at the same time your phone there, the platform of Kahoot. So you see the question on my screen, then you pick your answer in your platform there. So usually the colors that correspond to the correct answer will be the one that you have to pick. So I think we can start now. We have 46, okay? 47, let's see if we can get 2 more. OROLU, please. The phone number is the nickname. Please change your nickname to phone number. Phone number is the nickname. Phone number is the nickname. That is unique. Okay. All right. So I think we can start now. Wow. We are on 50 already. So let's start. Others can join. OROLU, please. You can try to change that. Okay. We are starting now. So the first question. So number 1, the question of whether hijab should be used or not, according to the first speaker, is okay. All right, the next question. For Muslims, hijab is permissible and compulsory, a matter of choice, a cause to fight for, a concern for everyone. Wow, this is great. Wow, good. Okay, the next question, question number, this is the board now. Let's move on. Question number 3. Our constitution forbids a private Catholic school to compel a Muslim student in our school to attend Christian fellowship. Yes, no, not sure, sometimes. Wow, people are getting it now. At least we have a lot of people that are giving answers within the short period. Wow, great. I'm very sure if you are with the lectures, you should be able to give right answers to some of these questions. Okay, number 4, question 4. The code describe can. Yes. So which of those? Okay, we need to know that we have just 20 seconds for some of these questions, for all of these questions. So you have to be fast. You can see that some people are not giving answers before the time. Okay, let's move on. So we have that as the highest, 3110. Okay, the next question, question number 5. The most superior right is? Okay, let's move on. Wow. Everything is changing. All right. Okay, let's move on. The next question. Question number 6. Human rights can dash be denied by government. Okay. The next one. Wow. The board is changing. Religious right grants everyone access to dash his religion. Wow. All right. And the last question. Wow, the board is changing. Okay, the last question. Which elongation style was used by Ustaz Abdulaziz Ali in his recitation of the memory lane? Middle, minimum, maximum. I think that was explained to by Ustaz Abdulaziz Ali. Wow. So that's the end of the game. Okay, let's have the leaderboard. So the third person is wow, thank you very much. I think we can see that you know yourself if you have won. So definitely you meet the anchor will give us the next line of instruction. All right. So we want us to be try to be conversant with the count, because in all of our lectures we shall be using this. So we want us to be part of it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the knowledge and understanding of the deen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Malam Abdulaziz.
Here with us.
Malam Abdulaziz, is he here with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please, can you take over from here?
Yeah, Jazakumullahu khairan to the winners and those that participate on the just concluded cohorts. We still have more in the bag. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We expect us to, as much as possible, to stay tuned. In the evening, in the evening, we would be having another session by 4:30. So we expect us to be here. So by 4 o'clock, the group will have been open. So the platform will have been open by then. So we expect us to join and let's come and learn the future of work. And I know that many of us will be eager to learn from that. So I'll be expecting us to be more than this morning participants. We are about on 200 and something in numbers. So we're expecting ×2 or ×3 of it. So immediately after we end this session now, so we want us to give feedback on how you have seen this morning session, and also give people the reason for them to be part of the afternoon session. So I think at this juncture would be ending the morning session. So I wouldn't know if the Nebula Amir has anything for us before we end. Nebula Amir, sir. Salam.
Now, before we move on, I would just like to remind us of the evening session. The evening session is starting by 4:30 p.m. inshallah. So to be running between 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And then the topic is the future of work. So it's a session meant to discuss the future of our professional lives in the new world that we are now. We understand the old technology and the old age that we are now. So we are having two erudite scholars who will be talking about the topic. The first person is Mr. Shakiru Lawal. Is a country manager at Nestu. Is a very prominent and renowned professional, and is going to be with us. And then the second person is Mr. Qasim Awal. So from Stanbic IBTC. We have someone from Nestu and someone from Stanbic IBTC. I hope this will be an opportunity for us to all come to learn from these professionals. As undergraduates also, we can also come and learn from them to plan ahead of our careers. That's class one to make it easy for us. So please let's remind our friends, our brothers, our sisters, and everyone that we know. Let's remind them to make sure they join the session. If they are yet to register, let them register. They will get the links in their emails, and then they can always join. So may Allah make it easy for us.
Before Madam wrap up, I want to, on behalf of the unit and the organizers of the 111th IVC, appreciate and thank everybody who have attended the one of second phase of the Islamic practitioner course together by MSSNLagos. For those who are yet to follow us, by the way, the person that just spoke with us now that gave us information is the assistant PRO of the
work on the audio side, the audio.
Thank you, my Bible, for always calling my attention to it. I don't know, I think my phone is malfunctioning. So I want to appreciate on behalf of the unit. I think the money will be in the better position to do that, but I just want to mention, because I saw some of our delegates that actually attended the first, the day one. Some of them attended outside Nigeria, and I have a couple of numbers here that are not from Nigeria. So we want to specifically appreciate everybody that attended today's camp, and the lecturers, as well as our Moayasha coordinator and the Malam that took us through, Malam ABDULWAASII that took us through the memory lane. Please, let's ensure that it is important for us that our level of spirituality is not taken with levity. The memory lane is something that is very, very important for us. There's also going to be Kahoot session on it, on memory lane. We'll have different questions as regards to, which verses come first, and I don't know, those in charge are in better position to do, but I'm just giving us a hint. So it is important for us to memorize the memory lane. And that's why it's called memory lane. It is very, very important for us to memorize, memory lane. So we appreciate everybody on behalf of the Amir and the organizers of the event and the entire executive members of the Muslim Society of Nigeria Lagos State Area Unit. I hand over the microphone to my co-anchor now, Madam ABDULWAASII. Bismillah.
So inshallah, we end the session.
Okay, someone is asking for the memory lane verses again, please. Surah to Anbiya, Quran chapter 21, verse 105 to 105 to 108. Or is it 108 or 109? Is it 108 or it ends at 108? 105 to 108. Yeah. Quran chapter 21, verse 105 to 108. Surah to Anbiya. Please, let's take notes and memorize it. So, Bismillah, sorry for cutting.
So, inshallah, so let's anticipate for the afternoon session, evening session rather. Let's participate. Let's bring in our A game. Your questions, anything you want to ask, let's start noting them down. The future of work. Maybe we have some questions to ask, so let's start noting them down. So we are going to end the session now. If there is no other questions to ask or information rather, so we are going to end the section with recitations of Surah Al-Asr. Thereafter, we'll be expecting us by 4:30, inshallah. Remember that for the early comers, you have a gift also. So that's just a tip for us. So Jazakumullahu khairan for your attention, your time, and your data, everything. May Allah reward you abundantly. And
sorry,
also
Madam ABDULWAASII, I also want to inform our delegates that at some point, I think the highest number that I noted was about 300 and something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I know that those are phones. You know, there are some of us who have more than one person listening to or using that particular phone.
Yes.
So if we have in some cases or some houses where we have about 3 or 4 persons using the same phone. So if you want to do on the average, you want to multiply that 300 plus into 2, it means that we have about 700 delegates on the average, 700 delegates on day one.
Yes, in fact, some of our institutions have their viewing centers, and some have their MPs, and they invite people to come and listen to the MP.
Alhamdulillah. So we need to do more the evening session and also the other days before the end of the camp. So if you can record as much as 5,000 online, okay, somebody is saying 3 people from his own side. So just wrap it up, sir. Sorry for continuing.
Yeah, so we should also anticipate for the HTTC donation. So I know we are planning ahead of that, and also we also need your donation, 1,000 naira for this camp. So you can also pay that to our account. So to also assist the logistics of this camp. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward us abundantly. Jazakumullahu khairan for joining. Bismillah, salatu wasalam.
Assalamu alaikum.